Welcome to session. Welcome. My name is Dolafemi, and I will be taking you through a conversation that I would say is long overdue, a very important conversation. So let me get straight to the point. Most career transitions, they fail. And this is not because people aren't smart. It's not because they don't work hard. And it's definitely not because they don't have certificates. As a matter of fact, certificates are everywhere now. Someone or everyone on this call probably knows someone who has two, three, or maybe even four. And yet, most of these people are still struggling to land a job. The truth is that the job market, when it comes to the UK, the US, and Canada, it does not reward paper. What it rewards is proof, proof that you can deliver results, that you can drive results from the first day. And this is the gap where most people fall into. They spend thousands, collecting certificates, taking courses, thinking, oh, this is going to be my golden ticket. And then they find themselves stuck in, an endless loop of rejection. Or, even worse, they are underemployed. They're in roles that are far below their potential. So if perchance you're any one of those people and you are here today, I do have fantastic, great news for you. If you understand why these transitions, why they fail, you can understand how to build the kind of career capital that employers actually pay for. And then you can use this understanding to flip the script to your advantage. And that's exactly what we are going to unpack here today. Now, before we go in deeper, if you know someone who is, stuck in this rejection loop, in this cycle, in this trap, someone who is collecting certificates like infinity stones and getting no results, I would like for you to send them this link now. And trust me, they'll thank you later, definitely. Also, throughout this masterclass, my team is going to share a link in the chat section. You can just be on the lookout for that. I would like for you to fill it out so that you can get access to this replay and to any supporting materials that we're going to share. Now, before we dig into how you can game the system, I would like for you to drop your name and your location in the chat. Let's see who is in the room with us today. So just drop your name and your location in the chat. Your name and your, okay, Ronke from Calgary. Hi, Ronke, very nice to meet you. Thank you for joining us today. Josiah from Nigeria, okay. We've got Somto from the UK. We've got Anita from Manchester, Rebecca from Toronto, Emily, we've got Frank, Linda, interesting, Emmanuel, Blessing, Coyote. Okay, so I really love how global this room is. I think I say that all the time. You can see the diversity that's being represented here today. And this is exactly why this kind of conversation matters. As you can see, and I'm sure that as we all experience every day because we have WhatsApp, some of us are not in our home countries, we have loved ones that are home and we stay in touch with them. Tech is amazing. It's capable of connecting people from different parts of the world. As long as you have access to the internet, you could be one of these people sharing your breakthrough stories on LinkedIn very soon. Anything is possible so long as you have your laptop, your phone, your tab, and you have internet access. So if this all sounds very good to you, let's get on with our conversation today. Now, first thing, let's talk about 10 analytics and why we're in the right position to help you in your career transition. So who are we? If you're in a community, you've probably received maybe calls from Analytics, you've received emails, but you're still wondering, it's a very critical question, how exactly can Analytics help me? Is this just another edtech that issues certificates out to people? I mean, there are quite a few of those in the market. So let's cut through the noise. We're a global career launchpad founded 5 years ago with one very specific vision: and that is to help professionals in Africa and beyond transition into high demand international roles. And I'm not saying not just any role. We're laser focused on specific roles like data analytics, cybersecurity, business analysis, agile project management, HR analytics, financial analytics, etc. I'm going to talk more on why these specific courses matter as we move ahead and why you should be very interested in them. But first, let's talk about what makes us different as a company. We are 100% community driven. You see, at 10 Analytics, we have an in-house philosophy that nobody, absolutely nobody, walks alone. Today, roughly about 70% of our students come from referrals. And I would like you to just pause and think about that. About 70%. That is huge. Come from referrals. So these are people who have gone through the 10 Analytics pipeline, they've gotten hired, and now they are sending their friends and their families to us. You don't do that unless something actually works, unless you've gotten a lot of value. So what makes us different? What sets us apart from other solutions in the market? You must have come across a bunch of edtechs before we found us. So why should we be a part of your story? You see, I would describe most edtechs as passive. And I use that word very deliberately because they hand you a curriculum, they hand you some videos, and then they say, well, go figure it out. We don't do that. At 10 Analytics, we don't train people for the sake of training or just for the purpose of training. Our main goal is to get you hired, is to get you a job. So every single thing we do here is measured by that one metric. Did our students land the job that they wanted? And in over 5 years, we've helped over 3,000 people land roles at companies like the NHS, Deloitte, Amazon, Silicon Valley startups. And many of these people are now earning from 80K and above with like full visa sponsorships. These are people who did not have tech backgrounds, people who were carers, people who were students. I mean, we have stay-home moms, stay-home dads who started exactly where you are right now. And you could be one of these people. Now, unlike other companies that offer, like 20 courses to maximize profits, what we've done, like I mentioned earlier, is that we have laser focused on 8 programs that leads directly to visa eligible and high salary roles in 2025. And we do this, I want to stress this point because we are outcome obsessed. We only win when you win. So we only teach what actually converts into job offers globally. Now we have facilitators and instructors who've worked at corps like Apple, Microsoft, McKinsey, and other top tier companies. So these people, they know what the market wants, they know what it needs, and they're the ones who are going to teach you what to do to ensure that you also have this same access that they have enjoyed in their career. So when we talk about why career transitions fail, I want you to know that we're not speaking from theory. We're speaking from 5 years of research and data with over 3,000 success stories. So like I said earlier, no one at 10 Analytics works alone because we're 100% community driven. And I would be incredibly honored if you would let me walk you through why you should take the next step in your career transition with 10 Analytics. So now that you know who we are, let's dive into who Lola is and why you should care what she has to say. Now, my name is Lola Femi. I'm VP of Operations and Executions here at 10 Analytics. But before I had this role, just like, I was someone just like some of you. I was ambitious, I was talented, and I knew that I wanted to get in on tech. But the problem was that I had no idea how to do it. And the lucky thing for me was that I got very interested in tech very early. It was back in school, and my friends group back then, we were like the typical boring nerdy group, and we fancied ourselves Zuckerbergs. So we decided to build a game back then. Now, being the only person who couldn't code in the group, I felt very useless. And my friends were doing stuff, we were bringing out, it was when you think about it now, because this was years ago, it was complete rubbish. But back then we felt like we were going to change the world with this idea. So I found myself hovering over everyone, be like, when is this going to be ready? Doesn't this look like snakes and ladders? What if we tweak this like this? I had a lot of opinions, and my God, did I let them hear it? I could not keep quiet. And in time, I became the glue that held the group together. I always found myself playing that kind of role in different settings, wherever there's disorganization, wherever there's a problem, I want to solve it. I want to figure out, oh, how can we do this? How can we make this work seamlessly? Or what if we do it like this? I always had a lot of ideas. And looking at it now, my background is what gave me the push that I needed to fully step into the space and own it. I later realized that I was already functioning in the role of a product manager, long before I had that title. So it was very easy for me, and we're going to be talking about this as well, what we call transferable skills. It was very easy for me to like step into this. And now today, I've spent over 10 years in the trenches of tech, building fintech products, SaaS platforms, running operations for government-backed projects across Africa and Europe. I've been head of operations, head of product growth, COO. I've been in roles where one mistake could cost millions, and slow execution could kill the company and our entire product. And I would say that one thing that these years have really taught me is that execution is what separates the dreamers from achievers every single time. I've always said this, and I strongly believe this. Great ideas go to die at the execution stage. So let me say that again. Great ideas go to die at the execution stage. Now, think about this. You want to move abroad. Fantastic idea. You want better income, you want better positioning, also a fantastic idea. But the thing is that ideas do not get you paid. Your execution is what gets you paid. Do you think that Mark Zuckerberg was the first person with a Facebook idea? No, MySpace existed. They had users. They were winning. But Facebook came out, they executed harder, they were more obsessive, they had better products, their timing was better, and frankly, they just had a much better growth playbook. And today, they are one of the most undeniable giants of the tech world, and MySpace is literally in space. And that's exactly what is happening today in the tech world, especially in your career. If you're here today, you're probably sitting on MySpace while someone else is building Facebook. However, you're in this masterclass, so you're smart, you're intelligent, you know that you can be more, you have the potential to be more, but you're stuck in the idea mode while others are in execution mode. And execution, like we've already established, is where the money is. So the question is, how do we go from MySpace to Facebook? How do you move from where you are right now, which is the idea stage, to execution? So if you're still with me and you want to know how, because trust me, I have prepared how for you and I intend to give it to you in details. So if you really want to know how, I would love for you to type in the chat section, tell me Lola, and then we'll get right into it. Type in the chat section, tell me Lola, and we'll get right into it. Oh, fantastic. Okay. Elijah, tell me Lola. Ibironke, tell me Lola. Okay, fantastic. Love how interactive this class is. So let's get into it. Now let's talk about why your certificates do not equate experience. I'm going to tell you about two people. The first person is Michael, and I would really like for everyone to pay attention here because we're going to make this very interactive, and I would have a question for you at the end of this. Now, back to Michael, very brilliant guy. He got into tech about 2 years ago. He has a Google Data Analytics certificate. He's got a data science certificate from IBM. He's got AWS Cloud Practitioner certificate. And this person has spent over 1,500, and 18 months just collecting a lot of certificates, hopping from one program to the next. hoping that this is what is going to give him his big break and what would impress recruiters when they open his resume. His LinkedIn looks like a certificate museum, and he spent a fortune paying for these courses. Now, Michael has applied to over 400 data analyst roles in the UK and in Canada. And do you want to know how many interviews Michael has gotten so far? He's gotten 3. Do you want to know how many offers he's gotten so far? He's gotten 0. Meanwhile, there's another person called Sarah, who was a former customer service representative from Kenya. Now, Sarah doesn't have as many certificates. However, she got hired as a business analyst all the way in Canada for 85K. She has no fancy big name credentials. On her LinkedIn, though, she has a link to her portfolio that shows up all the projects that she's worked on that backs up her skill as a business analyst. That is all she has. So what do you think the difference is between Sarah and Michael? I would love to hear your thoughts on what you think Sarah is doing right and what Michael is doing wrong, especially when you consider the fact that on paper, Michael has way more experience than Sarah. So I would love for you to drop your thoughts in the chat. Now, remember, there's no wrong or right answer. We're all here to learn. And, maybe you could share a unique perspective. So what do you think Sarah is doing right and Michael is doing wrong? I'm just going to go over it again in case you missed it. Michael has a bunch of certificates. He's got certificates from IBM, from AWS, from Google, and, he's not getting any jobs. He's been looking for a job for months, yet he's not getting callbacks. He's had 3 interviews. He's not gotten any offers yet. However, Sarah, she has a portfolio on her LinkedIn. She doesn't have as many certificates as Michael does, but she recently got a job as a business analyst. So who can tell me what they think Sarah is doing right? Fantastic, Nana, brilliant. Yes, Sarah has the skills. Exactly, yes. So I would say that you are correct. However, Sarah does take it a step further. Sarah has the skills, Michael has the certificates, and then Sarah actually walks the talk and Michael just talks the talk. Because it's one thing for you to have the skills, it's another thing for you to show that you have the skills, not just telling people about it, not just saying, oh, I've done this and I've done that, but to actually show. And we do that through a portfolio. Your portfolio is your show, not tell. And you can classify your resume as your tell, while your portfolio is what shows this is exactly what you've done. This is the projects that you've worked on. Now, you see, I would look at certificates as the participation trophies of the professional world. They prove that you showed up. They don't prove that you can perform. And what hiring managers across the world, in the UK, in Canada, and others, what they are looking for are people who can actually get the job done. So if you're from Nigeria, if you're from Egypt, from Kenya, from Ghana, or anywhere in Africa, and you think that a certificate is your ticket to, getting that job that you want, you're playing a losing game, because while you're collecting certificates, someone else is busy building demonstrable skills. So what recruiting managers are looking for is not, oh, where did you get this certificate from? Oh, he has a certificate from Harvard. Wrong. They're asking questions like, can you clean messy data and present insights that actually drive business outcomes? Can you identify cybersecurity vulnerabilities and actually fix them? Nobody cares where you got your certificates from. A certificate says that you watched the videos and you passed multiple choice tests. But the skills say that you walk into a company on day 1 and you can solve real problems and actually save or make money. So the question today, one of the questions that I have for you today is, are you ready to, stop being a certificate collector and start being a problem solver? Because what I'm about to show you is going to change how you approach this transition. Let me introduce you to Hope. And I really need you to listen to her story. She's one of my favorite stories. If you watched our videos on YouTube, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, we have a lot of testimonials now. And I want you to keep something in mind here. For every testimonial that we share, across our pages, like 10 more that we did not get to share because he said, oh, I don't want to put myself out there. So you can just imagine how many we get in a week. And now Hope is, one of my favorite stories. And this is because it really speaks to the points that I'm trying to make here today, which is your certificates. As much as, certificates are amazing, your skills is what matters. Now, Hope wasn't just some rookie who was dreaming about tech. She already had project management certification. She had Scrum Master credentials, and her LinkedIn looked perfect, but this was on paper. She was exactly what Canadian employers said they wanted. She looks perfect, like I said. But what happened was that Hope hit the Canadian job market and she was getting absolutely nothing. Her applications were being sent into the void. Her interviews were going nowhere. She was getting rejection after rejection after rejection. You know that feeling where you wake up in the morning and you're just saying rejected, rejected, rejected. And Hope started asking herself the same question that you might be asking. What is wrong with me? I have the certificate. I've studied everything. Why isn't this working? And this is why it wasn't working. I'll tell you why. Canadian employers weren't rejecting Hope because she lacked the knowledge. They were rejecting her because she couldn't prove execution. Anyone can memorize agile frameworks, anyone can pass a Scrum Master exam, but the real question is, can you actually lead a cross-functional team through a complex project? Can you handle stakeholder conflicts? Can you deliver results under immense pressure? Now, what Hope certificate was saying is that she knew the theory, but where was the proof? So in September 2024, Hope made a decision that completely changed everything. She joined the Agile Project Management Program, and this was not to get another certificate, but to build demonstratable skills. And by December 2024, barely 3 months later, Hope wasn't just getting interviews, she was getting offers. And she landed a project analyst role. And suddenly, the same market that ignored Hope for months was open to her. So what changed? Hope went from someone who knew project management to someone who could actually prove that she could manage projects. She built a portfolio of real work, by the way, real results, real solutions to real business problems. So if you're sitting here and you're thinking, but I've got certificates too, and I'm getting the same rejections that Hope got, the question is, can you prove it? So I want you to hear it from the horse's mouth. I'm just going to play Hope's testimonial just for a bit so you can hear what Hope has to say. Ads like this business low-key achieved over 500% return.
It helped me land my first project management job in Canada, and I'm really grateful for it. Of course, it's a six-figure job, and I appreciate the fact that they had a great impact in me landing that job. Hello, my name is Hope Otoye. I am an alumni of Analytics. I joined the 2024 September cohort class for Agile Project Management. Prior to joining this cohort, I had a certificate in project management, and I had written the PMP, and I'd also retained the Scrum Master certification, which I passed both, but I still needed to land a project management role in Canada. Prior to when I moved to Canada, I had an experience with project managing projects and handling agile projects in Nigeria. But moving to Canada, I hadn't gathered enough experience in the project space, so I needed to break into that space. Analytics was recommended to me, and I tried it. I had a focus on what I wanted, and they helped me achieve that. I joined the class, it was very interactive, it was very educative. I increased what I knew prior to joining the class, and I learned new things as well. I would definitely recommend analytics to anyone who is looking to break into a new field or change career path. I think Analytics is where you should be. You should register with them. They would help you with your post registration, ongoing classes, getting a job, you know, interview processes and all that. While on the project, oh sorry.
Amazing, amazing. I just wanted you to hear that for a couple of minutes, to hear it from the horse's mouth, how Hope's experience with 10 Analytics completely changed the trajectory of her career. Just give me a minute, please. Okay. I think I stopped sharing my screen. Okay, I think you should be able to see it now. Fantastic. Now, Hope's story is proof that there's a difference between knowing and proving. Hope didn't need more knowledge. What she needed was credibility. And in 3 months, we helped her build that credibility. Now, if Hope's story resonates with you, if you see yourself in Hope's struggle and you are locked in and committed to living that life that you've always wanted and bagging that dream job, I want you to type committed in the chat so I know that you are still with us. If Hope's story resonates with you and you're here today, you are locked in on living that dream life, getting that dream job, on moving beyond just certificates and entering competence. I want you to type in committed in the chat section so I can see you're here with me. Fantastic. Michael committed. Okay, interesting. Anthony committed. We've got a lot of committed people today. Frank committed, Blessing committed, Elijah committed, Ella committed. I'm excited to see all the commitments that we have today in the chat section. And now this is really motivating. So let's move on to the next thing on our list. Now let's talk about the 10 Analytics system, an established system that we've used to drive over 3,000 people to get the jobs that they want in the tech world. Now, what you just heard from Hope, that was not luck. That was a deliberate system we built, the same system that I'm going to show you. It's a 3-step framework, and it took her from certificate collector to a hired professional in 90 days. Now, step 1 of this is you have to learn. And when you're learning with what I would call laser focus. Now, at 10 Analytics, like I've mentioned before, we don't teach 50 courses. We don't chase every trending skill. What we've done is we have identified exactly 8 career paths that are recession proof, that are visa eligible, and are paying about 60K to 120K and above on average in 2025. And these roles include data analytics, data science, data engineering, financial analytics, agile project management, HR analytics, and others. Now, the question you're probably asking yourself is, why only 8? And this is because, again, like I mentioned, these are the roles companies in UK, in US, in Canada, and others cannot fill fast enough. These are the skills where demand is so high that companies are literally sponsoring visas just to find qualified candidates. Why would you want to be anywhere else? Now let's look at the next step in this, which is the package step, where you package yourself for employability. Now here's where most people fail in a catastrophic way. They learn the skills, they present themselves like amateurs, even though they have learned the skills. So how can we help you avoid this mistake? The first one is we provide you with a full CV revamp that positions your background as global experience. And like I mentioned at the beginning of this meeting, transferable skills really are a thing. So even though you don't have experience in tech, you've never worked in tech, I mean, you could literally be a teacher, and maybe you've had to manage anxious parents, who come into school and they're like, oh, why did you give my child so much homework? And they're pissed off, and you're like, oh, I'm so sorry about that. You want to take a seat, or would you like coffee? You've navigated waters with sharks in it. That is literally stakeholder management, and that ability to negotiate, to calm down stakeholders when everybody's pissed off. That is a transferable skill that is very valuable in business analysis. So these are the things that we help you do. We help you position your background as global experience, no matter where it is, if it's global, if it's international. If it gives you transferable skills, it is 100% relevant. The next thing is LinkedIn optimization. Our LinkedIn optimization assistant will get recruiters sliding into your DMs. I think if you've never gotten an email or with recruiters asking you, hey, would you be interested in applying for this job? Then your LinkedIn is not optimized and you desperately need analytics to come in there. Now, we also help you build a portfolio as well. I've mentioned that at the beginning, why a portfolio is so important, because your resume is the tell, your portfolio is the show. But not everyone knows how to build a portfolio. What exactly are recruiters looking for? I have a story, but how do I tell that story in my portfolio? That's where we come in. Now, you also have access to mentors who will coach and support you throughout your journey. We also arrange interview dry runs where we simulate interviews with hiring managers so you don't freeze when it matters the most. Another very critical part of this is, for example, if you have a big interview coming up, you could reach out to your facilitators and you could get any member of the management team. It could be me, it could be anybody else who would be in that interview, or your facilitators asking you questions that the hiring managers would most likely ask you. We also provide job reference as well, so you always have someone who can vouch for your skills in the market. And last but not least, we provide you with on the job support, because getting hired really is just the beginning, right? We have students who have reached out to us even after they've gotten jobs and they're like, hey, I need help, I need support. And we're always very happy to help them because, again, like I said, getting hired is just the beginning. Now, step 3 of this approach is apply like a machine. However, you have to apply with precision. Now, most people, they will spray and pray, and then they would send out 100 generic applications, and they start wondering, hey, why is nothing happening? So what we do is that we teach you to tailor for every single application. Never reuse a CV. As a matter of fact, you need to send out 10 quality applications per day so they can hit like targeted missiles, not scattered bullets. And I'm going to say that again, at least 10 quality applications per day if you are serious about getting serious in the market. Now, part of what we also do is that we also help you tap into paid and hidden job markets. You know how, you're on LinkedIn and you see that like 100 people have already applied for this job, and these 100 people are probably optimizing their resume so that their keywords can stand out when it comes to ATS. I'm going to talk more about this as we go ahead, as we go along. But then you're in a very competitive market and you want to ensure that you have everything, all the resources that you need, every advantage that you can get so that you can stand out in the market. And that is exactly what Analytics can provide you with. Now you apply what we call the LPA system, and definitely that equates to you getting the job. Now let's move on to the next, slide and just talk about why it is so important for you to look beyond certificates. Now you've seen the certificates, right? You've heard the theory. I've spoken about what 10 Analytics is and why we are best positioned for this. Yeah, even though you're coming to 10 Analytics and you're getting a skill and you're getting a certificate, at the end of the day, that is just one part of what we do. One of the most important parts, or the most critical part, is how we can help you position yourself in the market so that you can get the jobs that you need. Because that was the entire reason, or that is the entire reason why you would even be looking to get a certificate or to learn a new skill in the first place. Now, let me show you what actually gets people hired in the UK, in Canada, and beyond. And I've got some real success stories here that we can just quickly take a look at before we move ahead. Now, the first story here is Sade. Sade learned data science skills, I mean, just like thousands of other people. But she got hired as a data scientist in the UK while others with the same skills are still unemployed. Now, the question is, why? And you can see that we have emphasized this here, that Sade got her first job with the help of our interview prep, CV review sessions, and mentorship. Sade learned how to present her skills, not just possess them. You can listen to Sade's full story and you hear her say exactly what I'm telling you, the technical skills that got her in the room. However, the strategic positioning that kept her in the room. And this is why it's very important that you fill out the form that my colleagues will be dropping in the chat section for the duration of this call so that you can get access to this slide and take a look at it in your own time. Now, the next story here is Bernard, and his story is even more telling. He didn't just complete our data analytics program. Tenalytics wrote a reference letter to support his scholarship application in Canada, and then he landed a data analyst role. So this is just think about it. Bernard, he did not just get the skills, he got institutional backing. And that institutional backing was critical to him getting the role as a data analyst. He had someone who was vouching for his abilities, and he got strategic connections that opens the doors that he needed. Now let's have a look at Zainab's story. She landed a data manager role with ShareTree Connect in Nigeria after she rounded up with her program. But here's the key detail. Zainab was dedicated to learning in public, and she documented her entire journey on LinkedIn. So she didn't just learn, she demonstrated her learning. As she learned, she was building credibility, and at the same time, she was also building her skills. So by the time employers saw Zainab, they knew that she already could deliver the results. And this is part of the strategy that we teach our participants, not necessarily for you to document your entire learning journey or your learning journey at all, but for you to be active, for you to post, for recruiters to see you, because nobody knows how awesome you are if you don't toot your own horn. And then we also have ICMAT. Ikmat was a full-time stay-at-home mom in the UK, and she went from that to becoming a data analyst with the NHS with full visa sponsorship. Now, I'm going to just pause here. I want you to just let that sink in. Full visa sponsorship. That means that the NHS, they looked at Ikmat and they said, hey, we need this person so badly. We'll handle all the legal paperwork to keep her here. And you can hear Ikmat's story. Even though I'm not going to be playing a lot of these others here, we've got quite a lot of testimonials. You can go on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Instagram, and then when you also receive a copy of this presentation, you can look at it in your own time. But I'm going to play Ikmat's story so that you understand exactly how we helped her position her background, her life experiences, her problem-solving abilities as valuable business assets. Let's give me a minute, and I'm going to play Ikmat's story here.
Hi everyone, my name is Ikmat, and I was with the March cohort in Tenalytics, and joining Tenalytics has been the best decision so far. For me, someone coming from a background of full housewife, because I had to stay back home to look after my child for 4 years, and then wanting to break into something new, wanting to go back into the workforce, wanting to place myself in the society for better job opportunities. So it was a lot. And then I'm glad that Tenalytics came along, and then they presented me with so many opportunities right in front of me, better opportunities. And then I'm glad I took it. And then also the advice of do not sell yourself short, that if it is always the it is very, very valid, because place yourself right, don't sell yourself short. It's a very, very, very valid advice. In analytics, they will hold your hands like a child, through the modules. You have the opportunity to go back and study. You have the opportunity to go back and practice. You have the opportunity to ask questions. We have people you can always go back to, even outside of class hours. It's the most amazing experience so far, really. And then another thing is the interview prep, guys. That is another very important thing. I did my interview prep with Mr. Mohammed, and it is the best decision ever, because it was like he saw into the future. He knew what was going to be asked. And I'm glad that I wrote down all the things he mentioned. I went back to practice. And then when it was time for the interview, it was like everything he was mentioning, everything he mentioned was just, they kept on. And then when I was answering those questions, I was so confident, because I already practiced. I did an Excel test, I did a maths test, and then they were really impressed. And another thing is, guys, it may not come as fast as you expect. Definitely, you're going to get some no's, and then you will begin to think you're not good enough. You are good enough, yes. The no's will come, but always take it as a basis for learning and development, because after every interview where I got a no, I always make sure I get a personal feedback. So I work on those feedbacks for my next interviews. And
Amazing, amazing. Now, I want us to clock in something here. Do you see a pattern in all of these stories that I have shared? None of these people succeeded because of their certificates alone. They succeeded because they got a unique combination: strategic CV positioning, interview preparation, mentorship from people who've already worked in this market, portfolio development, professional references, access to hidden job opportunities. It was a combination of these other offerings that helped these people achieve their goals with post 10 analytics. So while other people were collecting certificates, these four, they were already building career capital. And while others were learning in isolation, these four, they were learning with strategic support. Now, I want you to understand that these results, they are not accidents. They are a predictable outcome of following a proven system. And that system is not just about learning skills. It's about how you can leverage those skills that you have learned in competitive job markets. So now the question that I want to pose to you here is, do you want to keep learning in isolation, and hoping that someone notices your certificates and how amazing you are? Or do you want the same strategic support that got Shade hired in the UK, that got Bernard placed in Canada, and ICMAT sponsored by the NHS? So that's a question that I would like you to mull over. And if no, you can type in the chat section, no, you don't want this kind of support. If yes, you can also type it in the chat section. Let's see who is ready to be the next success story of 10 analytics. If you would like to get the same support that these four people got access to, you can type in yes in the chat section. If you're not interested, you can type in no. That is completely fine. Maybe I haven't convinced you enough. Fantastic. Okay, I've seen a lot of yes. Prince is saying yes. Olorun Jaye is saying yes. Okay. Frank is saying yes. Gabriel is saying yes. Rosemary is saying yes. Rebecca, yes. Fantastic. So we've got a lot of yes in the house. Let's get into it. Okay. So now let's talk about the system. You're ready to step into the future, right? What is the first step that you need to take? We're going to go back to the LPA system that we've spoken about before, and then we're going to talk more about the first step, which is learn. Now, let me show you something that is going to blow your mind. Now, while everyone is busy chasing, trendy skills that might not exist in the next 2 years, we've done the research, real research. We've analyzed millions of job postings across LinkedIn, Indeed, Glassdoor, Total Jobs, Monster, Google, etc. And we cross-referenced that with reports from the World Economic Forum for validation from their Global Future of Jobs Report 2025. And then we also took it a step further. We also analyzed regional data. I'm talking UK skilled worker visa, eligible occupations, US job titles with the highest H-1B acceptance rates. We look at Canada's provincial nominee programs, etc., Ontario's immigrants nominee program, so many others. And what we have found, or what we found when we did this research, is going to make you angry at everyone who told you to just get any tech skill. Because while people were wasting time learning random coding languages or, chasing AI trends, 8 specific career paths are absolutely exploding with opportunities. So I want you to look at these roles: business analyst, data scientist, agile scrum master, data engineer, cybersecurity, HR analyst, financial analysts. These roles are exploding. They aren't just jobs, by the way. They are what we call your golden ticket. And when it comes to visa sponsorship, these roles are on every single priority list. UK skills worker visa, check. Canadian provincial nominee programs, check. US H-1B priority occupations, triple check. But here's another thing that should also stick with you, in as much as it's so exciting to see all of these opportunities. This window will not stay open forever. And right now, we are in what I would call a perfect storm. High demand, low supply. Government immigration priorities are aligned. However, markets shift, requirements change, and first movers will win. Now imagine 6 months from now, you took action today and you're calling your family to tell them that you just got hired as a data analyst in London with visa sponsorship. Imagine posting this on LinkedIn, that you moved from your current situation. Maybe you're a carer, maybe you're in customer support, and now you're a business analyst or you're a data engineer and you work in Toronto, and you post it with a caption like, dreams do come true. But the reality is that that only happens if you stop researching, if you leave the idea phase and you enter the execution phase. Because while you're reading about these opportunities, someone else is seizing them. So if you're still on the sidelines and you're not sure maybe this is the right opportunity for you, don't worry, I've got some more data for you. Let's look at this data. This is actually very interesting, and this is not my opinion. This is the World Economic Forum. In the next 5 years, by 2030, 170 million jobs will be created, while 92 million jobs will disappear. Let that sink in. 92 million people losing their livelihoods, their careers, their security, everything they thought was stable, vanishing. And the reality is that this is already happening. Who here hasn't heard about mass layoffs? The world is changing, but the question is, are you changing with it? Where will you be in this massive reshuffling? Will you be one of the 92 million displaced, desperately trying to retrain and competing with millions of others who are finally caught up to the tech movement? Or will you be one of the 170 million beneficiaries who is landing high-paying roles in this new economy? Now, here's what most people don't understand. Like I said before, I'm going to emphasize it. This shift is happening right now. It's not some distant future threat. Companies are already making these changes. AI is replacing jobs. Automation is already eliminating entire departments. So most people, they have no idea that this is coming. They're going about their daily lives, thinking that their jobs is safe while the ground is shifting beneath their feet. And I want you to remember this. Their ignorance is your competitive advantage. I'm going to repeat that again. Their ignorance is your competitive advantage, and that only happens if you act today, if you act right now. So imagine that it's 2027, and while millions of people are scrambling to retrain for jobs that may not even exist anymore, you're already established as a data scientist and you're earning like 280K in London, or a cybersecurity analyst who's making 105K in Toronto, and you're positioned to pivot to the next hot thing if you want. Whatever it is, because you've got legendary transferable skills, which is exactly what either of these career paths will give you. So while these people are starting from zero, you're already getting promoted. While they were learning basic skills, you were busy leading projects. And then, while they're now fighting for entry-level positions, you're choosing between multiple six-figure offers. Now, let's also look at the next report. This is also from the World Economic Forum, the Future of Jobs 2025 as well. Now, these are the career paths that are in high demand. And I want to so what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain the main career path. And then you can see here, we've got data engineers, we've got big data, under data engineers, we've got big data specialists, we've got data housing specialists, we've got data engineers, but these are all subsets of one role. And sometimes this is why it can be very confusing for some people. You're a business analyst and you're looking for a job as a business analyst. But then when you go online, you're seeing things like operations analyst, process automation specialist, and you're wondering, is this what I'm supposed to do? Or maybe that you don't even clock that and you move past it. And that's why it's so important for you to keep in mind as we go forward that even though we're talking about roles like data engineers, data scientists, business analysts, these roles unlock subsets. And we're going to cover some of these subsets today. Now I'm going to break down each of these high growth careers in simple terms. I'm going to try to explain them as much as possible. And then, like I said before, they all have different pathways. Like, for example, teacher and headmaster, they're both in education, but they're just different subsets. So let's talk about the first one on our list, which is data engineers. Let me try to use a simple term to explain it for those of us who are not technically inclined. So imagine you walk into a massive library where millions of books have been thrown everywhere. You've got books on the floor, you've got books on the table, it's all mixed up. There's no filing system. Everything is just scattered. If you want to find books on philosophy, if you want to find books on science, if you want to find books on anything, it's just everything is everywhere and you have no idea what the filing system is supposed to look like. This is what most companies' information, this is what it looks like today. Now, a data engineer is like the world's most organized librarian. They would come in, they would build the shelves, they would create the filing systems, they would organize everything so that people can actually find what they're looking for. Now, every day, companies collect millions of pieces of information. Every time you buy something online, every time you click on their website, every time you call customer support, or every time you use their app, all of this information is very, very valuable. It can tell them what they have to stop doing, what they need to do more of, and areas that they probably even haven't thought of. But the problem is that all of this data is very messy and it's scattered across different computer systems. So data engineers would come in, they would build the filing cabinets to organize all of this information. They would create the system that automatically sorts the customer data, sales number, website activity, financial information into organized database that people can actually use. Now, the reason why companies pay data engineers so much, and they pay data engineers a lot, this is like the highest paying job in the world right now. They pay them so much because you can imagine trying to run a business when you can't even find important information. You don't know what product you're supposed to be selling. You don't know which customers are happy. You have no idea which marketing campaigns are working. That is complete chaos. And data engineers, it is their job to bring order to that chaos. I'm going to give you an example, a real life example. Netflix, I'm sure we're all familiar with Netflix. Netflix has millions of users watching different shows. And data engineers, what they do is that they organize all of this viewing information so that Netflix can recommend shows that you actually like. You know how Netflix algorithm works, or how even Instagram algorithm works? That is because they've taken everything that you have consumed and they've said, hey, maybe you might like this. Without them, Netflix, Instagram, TikTok, they will just be guessing what to show you and they wouldn't be nearly as addictive. Now, moving on to the next one, data analyst and data scientist. So you all know how, I don't know if you're familiar with Sherlock Holmes, but Sherlock Holmes is a detective. He looks at clues and he solves mysteries. Data analysts are kind of like that. They're kind of like business detectives, but instead of solving crimes, they actually solve business puzzles, and they use that, they achieve that by looking at the numbers. Now, companies have all of these organized information, remember, thanks to data engineers. But the problem is that these companies, they don't know what this data means, because even though this has been filed, it's now organized, the question is, what is this data telling us? What is this data telling the business that we need to do more of? So a data analyst will study all of these numbers and will discover the hidden patterns that can help these businesses make smarter decisions. I'm going to give you an example here. A bank notices that some customers are closing their accounts. A data analyst would dig into that data and would discover that, say, customers who wait more than 5 minutes on customer service calls are 60% more likely to switch banks, which is exactly why I said it's like detective work. Sometimes you have a problem and then your job is to look at all of the data that you have available to figure out where exactly is this problem coming from. So in this scenario, this example, now the bank knows that they have to hire more customer service people or improve their phone system so that they can continue to keep, so it doesn't impact their bottom line. Now, what makes this job really amazing is that, it's like you're a like a business consultant, But like I said, instead of guessing what companies should do, you use actual evidence, You might discover that a company is wasting, say, 500K on advertising that doesn't work, or you might find that changing a website design could increase their sales by 20%. It's an amazing career path. We've got data analysts and scientists, AI and machine learning specialists, all under this career path. Now let's talk about the next one, which is cybersecurity analysts. I call them the digital bodyguards. I find this one, the cybersecurity analyst role really cool. I guess it's because I used to watch a lot of spy movies where they would be hacking stuff and they would just go tick 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 and they say I'm in. Like, how did you hack it? Anyway, cybersecurity analysts are supposed to defend against things like that. So imagine, every business has valuable treasures locked away in a vault, but there are thousands of thieves constantly trying to break in. Cybersecurity are the bodyguards who are protecting those digital treasures. And you might be asking yourself, what valuable treasures could companies possibly have? Every company today has valuable digital information. You've been shopping online. You've put in I'm betting that your card is on Amazon right now. So you've got your credit card information, you've got your business secrets. As a business, you've got your employee personal data, financial records. For example, can you imagine the sensitive data in a second that Gmail processes, that WhatsApp processes? Imagine all of your chats with your best friend, all of your chat with your husband or your wife gets leaked on WhatsApp because someone was able to hack into WhatsApp database. That is very, very scary. That is exactly what cybersecurity analysts guard against. So hackers are getting smarter every day, and companies need cybersecurity experts more than ever. This is literally a job where the demand will never ever go away. So it's very safe, and again, it's also in the World Economic Forum report as one of the highest paying jobs in the world. Now let's talk about business analysts, and you can see here that a business analyst, we have process automation specialist. Like I said, subsets. Sometimes you can see it also listed as operations analysts. Now, I'm going to try to put this in simple terms. For those of us who are not tech inclined, again, imagine you're at the United Nations where people, they speak different languages and they need someone who's going to help them understand each other and someone who's going to bring them together to solve problems. Business analysts are like translators between the business side and the technology side of the company. So every company has a business or has a problem rather that they want to solve. But often the business people, these are the people who know that, oh, we need to fix this. They cannot communicate effectively with the tech people, those who know how to build the solutions to fix the problem that the business people have highlighted. Now, as a business analyst, you are a bridge between that. You're a bridge between, I know that we need to solve this business problem. However, I cannot communicate it. And I can solve this business problem because I've got the technical skills. I just need it to be communicated to me. As a business analyst, you bridge that gap. I'm going to give you an example. A retail company's customers are complaining that, hey, it takes too long for us to return the item that we bought online. If I don't like this product, why do I have to wait for 1 month before I can return it? You know, and then the business notices this. Maybe, a data analyst comes in there and says, oh, this is why we're getting so many bad reviews, because people are saying that it's taking them way too long to return this item. And then they engage a business analyst and say, how can we solve this problem? We have to fix it. But however, they don't know how. Now, the tech side can build solutions, but it does not understand the business problem. So a business analyst would come in, and probably maybe even after seeing the report from the data analyst, we still interview customers to see things from their perspective. Would study the current return process? What does this look like? Where are the bottlenecks? What can we streamline? What can we make faster? They would work with the business leaders, with the management or the leadership team to define what success for this is going to look like. And then they would translate all of this data that they have collected in all of these phases into clear requirements for the tech team. Now, at the end of the day, their goal is to make sure that the final solution actually solves the original problem. Now, companies desperately need this role. And if you go online and you just search for business analyst jobs, you would find a lot of vacancies for this. And this is because most business projects, they fail because people build the wrong thing or they solve the wrong problem. Business analysts prevent expensive mistakes by making sure everyone understands what they're trying to achieve before spending time and money building it. Now let's talk about the next one, which is the agile project managers. Agile project managers, you can also find jobs maybe listed as scrum masters or project managers. But again, like I said, all subsets. I would refer to agile project managers as the conductors of the business world. Now, if you've ever watched like an orchestra, like a symphony, you would say you have like 50 musicians all playing in the background. They've got their violin, everyone has an instrument, and the goal is to ensure that they play together perfectly to create beautiful music, beautiful harmony. Without a conductor, it would be complete chaos. Everyone would be playing at different speeds, everyone would be starting at different times. Nobody knows when it's time for them to stop. It would be a complete disaster. An agile project manager is like the conductor, but instead of musicians, what they are coordinating are teams of people who are working together to build something, and that could be a new app. It could be a marketing campaign. It could be a new product. It could be improving the way a company operates. Every business has projects, things that need to get done, things that involve multiple people working together. Maybe a bank wants to launch a new mobile app, or a hospital wants to improve how their patients check in, or a retail company wants to redesign their website. All of this that I just highlighted, they all require proper coordination. And without a project manager, things fall apart. So now that we know, there's still some other roles, of course, I have not highlighted here. There's HR analytics, there's financial analytics, but we're going to talk more about that as we move ahead. I want to get to a really interesting part, right? This is what you really want to know. All of these career paths are amazing, but how much money are we talking about here? Because the truth of the matter is, the earning potential in these fields will either make you incredibly excited or frustrated that you waited this long before you made a move. Now look at this screen. Just look at it. I'm just going to put all of this out there. Just look at all of these numbers that we've got here. These are not inflated numbers. These are not best case scenarios. These are average salaries for the exact roles we train people for at 10 Analytics. You've got data engineering, and that's going for like 65,000 pounds in the UK, and that's like over 5,000 pounds every single month. In Canada, you've got like a 100K. In the US, you've got like 134K, and that's more money than most people make an entire year. And please keep this in mind. This is like the average salaries for this role. We've got business analysis, 52,000 pounds in the UK. Canada, which is like 74K, in the USA, 85K, all of these average salaries. We've got cybersecurity, 57K in the UK, 57,000 pounds in the UK. In Canada, 140K. In the US, it's 105K. And this is all just for protecting companies from hackers. So I'm going to try and put things into perspective. If you're currently earning, say, 200,000 per month in maybe in Nigeria, for example, that's about £100. The lowest salary on this screen, which is HR analytics, the lowest salary at 43,000 pounds would pay you £3,600, I believe, per month. And that is like 10 times what you're making right now. But this would either motivate you or it would haunt you. The reality is that while you're probably sitting here thinking, do I want to go for this? Am I sure I want to go for this career path? There are other people who have less experience than we do, who have already made up their mind and they have already started. And maybe they made up their minds 3 months ago, 2 months ago, whenever it was they made up their mind, they've definitely surpassed you right now in terms of knowledge. So you have a choice today. You can continue earning your current salary thinking, yeah, I need to take advantage of my life. I need to do something. I need to get into tech. I know that I can be more. Or you can invest, the next 6 months learning a skill and gaining access to a community that could permanently change your career's financial trajectory. Again, this window is closing. I want to stress that point. Every month, more people discover these opportunities in tech. Every month, every quarter, we've got more training programs that are launching. Every year, the advantage that you have today continues to decrease as supply catches up to demand. So the question is, are you going to be an early mover who capitalizes on the market's inefficiency, on the supply and demand gap, or are you going to watch from the sidelines while others are building the wealth that you could have had? Now, right now, you're probably thinking, okay, Lola, all of this sounds super amazing, but I've got a question. Which path is actually right for me? If I pick the wrong one, I waste years of my life. And that fear is exactly why people stay stuck. They are paralyzed by choice. They end up doing nothing because they cannot decide, or worse, they pick randomly and they quit halfway because it does not feel right. Now, this problem I just explained is exactly why we created the career personality quiz. This 3-minute assessment tool, it was built by our course leads and career coaches who have successfully placed over 3,000 people in six-figure tech roles. And it solves one critical problem that costs people years of their life, which is matching your natural personality to the career path where you will not just succeed, but actually wake up excited to work. My colleagues will be dropping the link in the chat section, but I would like us to take this quiz together. And let me see if I can also just drop the link as well in the chat section. Just give me a minute. Okay. So I'm going to share the link here. This is the link for you to take the quiz. You can take this quiz to find out what your tech, okay, just give me a minute because I'm going to share my screen again. I think I stopped sharing so I could come here and share the link with you. Okay. Fantastic. Okay. So we're going to take this quiz together, by the way. You can also scan the QR code here and you can take the quiz with me, but I've also dropped the link in the chat section so we can take it together. Okay. So this is the first thing that you see when you come here. And, like I said, it's literally 3 minutes. It's not going to take a lot of your time. So it would be fantastic if you could just join me and take the quiz with me. I have dropped the link in the chat section for anyone who's wondering where the link to the quiz is. You can check the chat section and we can take the quiz together. Now, the idea is this quiz is going to analyze your personality based off the questions, your responses to the questions, and then is going to suggest a career path for you. So you put in your first name, your last name, you can put in your mobile number here. Okay. And then you can put in your email address here as well. Okay. Okay. Now we're taking the quiz together. So I'm just going to read this out loud for maybe those of us who are not taking the quiz, but it would be fantastic if we could take this together. So the first thing is, how do you feel in group settings or in team discussions? This is very important because it's a critical part of your personality. If you're someone who is not outspoken, someone who, when you have something to say, is when you get in the shower that you're thinking, I should have said that day or yesterday. I should have said that, then maybe you might want to say, I prefer working solo or behind the scenes. However, if you're someone like me who you have opinions and everybody has to hear your opinions, you can say, I thrive, I love engaging, leading, or just connecting. Now, the next question is, what best describes your current or most recent job? Now, for maybe your current or most recent job is not here, I would have to, apologize for that. Like I said, we built this with a lot of data and we've been getting a lot of feedback. So we're going to keep improving on this. But if you fall under that category, you can just say unemployed, freelancer, career switch. However, this is quite broad: caregiver, teacher, finance, marketing, tech, customer support, and you can select whichever one falls under what you've done before. I'm going to select marketing, sales, and operations. Now, which of these sounds most like you? Do you like to solve problems with people? Do you like to organize teams? Do you like to create processes and workflows? Do you want a job that pays well? You just don't know what you're supposed to do. You just know that you want a job that pays really well. Or you like to protect systems, or you like to work with data, you like to find patterns. So I'm going to say here that I love to solve problems with people. There's something so exciting about solving problems with people and seeing people actually use the solutions that you built. I guess that's part of why I leans towards product management at first. Now, the next question is, how comfortable are you with tools like Excel, Google Sheets, or numbers in general? Now, if you're not comfortable with tools like Excel, if you prefer things like dashboards, you can indicate that here as well. If you're somehow comfortable, you can navigate basic formula, but maybe you can plus, you can minus in Excel. You can also select this here. If you want to avoid numbers, if you can, because there's some big pictures people who do not like numbers, you can also select this as well. So I'm just going to say very somewhat comfortable, like I navigate basic formulas. Okay, so what's your take on coding? Now, not everybody likes to code. Some people love coding. If you do, you can put that in here. Even though you don't code professionally, if you code just for fun, then you should definitely indicate that. It means that the technical career path would not scare you at all. If you prefer logic puzzles, if you would rather manage tech teams, if you're curious about coding, just like you're not sure if you're going to enjoy it, if you're okay with light scripting or no code tools, drag and drop web builders, etc., you can select this. So I'm just going to select I prefer logic puzzles. Okay, so what kind of work environments do you prefer? Do you prefer strategy and decision-making roles? Do you prefer security conscious, mission critical environments? Do you want to help others and improve internal culture? We found that, usually like data, financial, and the rest, business analysis, they usually go for that path. Do you want independent, technical, and data focused work, or are you not sure yet? So I'm just going to select strategy and decision-making role. So what's most important to you right now? Do you want job security? Do you want to land a high-paying tech role? Do you want remote work flexibility? Do you want to lead teams and projects, or you're not sure yet, you're still trying to like figure out what your next step is? That is completely fine. That is why we are here today. So if that is the case, don't feel weird about it. You can indicate it here. So you can just say, okay, and also you can select as many as you want to, okay? So I'm just going to click this and go to the next stage. Now we're almost at the end. Okay, some of you might have gotten your results. If you've gotten your results, feel free to start dropping your results in the chat section while I walk through this. Now, what kind of impact do you want to make? Do you want to lead organizational change? Do you want to protect business information systems? Do you want to enhance employee experience? Whatever that kind of, I want you to think about like this. What kind of impact do you see yourself making in the next 5 years? When you close your eyes, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? And select the one that feels most right to you. Now we're already at the end, and here you're going to select what course sounds most appealing to you. I've spent quite some time talking about the courses and what makes them very special, and why you should definitely be looking at one of these courses and one of these tech skills. So what are you leaning towards? That's also very important. And if you're confused, then we've also enabled the multiple choice here as well. So you can say business analysis. I'm going to say financial analytics, data analytics, just to demonstrate that you can say, hey, I'm confused, and you can still get a result that would most likely align with what your interests are. I'm also going to do something here. I'm going to select full stack data scientist, even though we know that I cannot code to save my life. Okay, now let's tap and move to the end. Okay, so I got the strategist business analysis, and that is not surprising. If you've been here, if you've been listening. So I'm a strategist, I'm a fixer, I think in systems and in processes. So that is me for Lola. I would love to know what you got when you took the test. Please share your results. Okay, I'm seeing Ibi Ronke financial analysis. Oh, fantastic. Okay. Anyone else want to share their results with us so we can see what you got? Okay, you want to drop your results in the chat section. Okay, I'm seeing Nana business analysis. Okay, Augustina. Okay, okay, Shireen business analyst. Okay, fantastic. June data scientist. Rebecca business analysis. Amazing. Vicky Kayode business. Okay, we've got a lot of business analysts in the house. Yo, what's popping? Okay, a lot of business analysts in the house. That's very interesting. So it's amazing. I think that for those of you who may be confused about where you want to be right now, what career path you want to go for, that you have an idea on what you should be going for. Now, the next question that I want to ask is, especially if this is your first time filling out this result, and you've been listening to everything I've been saying from the start, do you think that this aligns with what you are leaning towards? Do you think that the results that you got aligns with the course that you want to go with, or what your personality aligns with? You can just type in a yes in the comment section if that is true for you. Okay, we've got Shireen who said no. That is fantastic. No needs to worry about that. So for some people, actually, a few people who take the quiz, they find that sometimes it's not what they actually wanted and they get referred. And that is completely fine, which is why we have a clarity session. And again, it's very important that you fill out the link that my colleagues are dropping in the chat section so that you can also get books for a clarity session, and you can talk one-on-one with our career experts who would type your personality. They would have a one-on-one conversation with you. They would ask you questions just to figure out where you fit in. And then based on your responses, they would suggest the best course for your personality. Okay, so I'm seeing, I'm seeing a lot of, I see 2 no here. Interesting. Okay, I see your question. Oh no, studying supply chain management. I will take questions at the end of this session. Okay, fantastic. Let's get into it. I'm just going to say it again for those of us who feel like this is not what I want to do. It doesn't really align with what I'm looking for. Please don't forget to fill out the link that my colleagues will be dropping or are dropping in the chat section, so that you can also book a clarity call as well and get a one-on-one conversation with the career experts who will walk you through the best career path for you. Now, let me tell you something that the online education industry does not want you to know. Maybe you take a deep breath first. 95% of people who buy online courses, they never finish them. And the 5% who do, some of them still do not get hired. And why is that? Why is this? It's because they're built wrong. The system is built wrong. You see, most programs, they would either give you 2 options. Option 1 is fully self-paced courses. Now, with fully self-paced courses, you get a bunch of videos, you get some PDFs, and then, they also tell you good luck. And all of this sounds really flexible, right? You can watch these videos whenever you want to. You can learn at your own pace. I'm talking Coursera, I'm talking Udemy and the rest. You can set it up on your calendar and say, oh, I'm going to put out some time on Wednesday evening and I'm going to learn. Wrong. Absolutely wrong. This is a recipe for procrastination and failure. No accountability means no results. As a matter of fact, I know for a fact that we have people here who have probably registered for some courses that they never got to finish. If you are here and you've taken a course that you did not finish, maybe you signed up on Coursera, you were on Udemy, Udacity, whatever that was, and you did not finish it, please type in a me too in the chats. Yeah, type in a me too until we can identify those of us who would need support. Okay, interesting. Ibiru, okay, that was very fast. He said me too. If you're the same, okay, Mr. Ade, me too. Okay, so I want us to keep something in mind. Victoria, me too. Okay, I can see the me too's coming in. Linda, me too. Okay, let's keep something in mind. You're not weird. There's nothing wrong with you. Shagun, Victoria, Linda, Ade, there's absolutely nothing wrong with you. The problem is that this system is broken. And like I said, 95% of people who start this kind of courses, they never finish them. Now, that is the first option. Then there's also another option that some of these online education platforms would go for, which is live classes. So you get what I would call rigid live classes, where if you miss one session, you're screwed. And this is perfect if you have zero responsibilities in life, but that's not possible. You're an adult with a job, with a family, you've got real commitment. So how exactly do you meet up to the requirements of the second option, which is live classes? Now at 10 Analytics, we've spent 5 years with over 3,000 success stories under our belt. We've eventually figured out what works. And I'll tell you, it was not an easy journey for us to get here, but we did it. We tested every model imaginable. And if you came across analytics, back in 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, the model that we have today is completely different. And this is because we were tired of watching really smart people fail due to course design. And again, like I said before at the beginning, our goal is to not just have you get a skill. Our goal is to ensure that you get a job. So every single thing that we do here is to drive you towards that one critical goal. Now, what we discovered with years and years of research will blow your mind. It's that magic happens when you combine both models strategically. So because of that, we use a blended approach, a hybrid system. And it's one of the reasons why our success rate is incredibly high. Now, the first one is self-paced foundation building. Self-paced foundation building. This is like a self-paced learning materials where you learn with our LMS and you can learn at your own convenience anytime or anywhere you are. With self-paced, you get on-demand video lessons that you can watch 24/7. You can watch these videos while your kids are asleep. You can watch these videos during your break, your lunch at the office. You can binge watch these videos on weekends. You can reply and you can rewind, you can replay, until the concepts click. Now with phase two, live expert led execution sessions, which I want to call them, this is where you have weekly sessions with instructors who actually worked at, places that you're looking at getting these jobs, Amazon, Microsoft, Deloitte, McKinsey, these are teachers or facilitators, practitioners who've done this at the highest level. And you would be having conversations with these people to find out, hey, I watched this video. I would like your help with this. I would like to ask this question. Now, what we found is that this combination is unstoppable because self-paced builds your knowledge foundation. And then live sessions build your execution confidence. I'm going to say that again. Self-paced builds your knowledge foundation and live sessions build your execution confidence. Together, they create something no other program offers, which is job-ready competence, which of course leads me to the package level of our LPA system. The package level of our LPA system. Now we've walked through the first step, which is learn, and now we're moving on to the next step, which is package. So once you are done learning, how do you package yourself? How do you package your skills to make yourself look attractive in the market? Now, credentials. Credentials say I passed a couple of tests after I watched these videos. And competence says I can solve real business problems that make or save money. And this is very critical. It's one of the first things I want us to keep in mind today as we step into the package and the package level of the three-step framework. So before we go any further, I want you to lock in a mental shift today. That mental shift is competence over credentials. Competence over credentials. Now, credentials will say, I know the theory behind data analysis. Competence would say, I can take your messy sales data and I can identify exactly why revenue dropped last quarter. I can take your messy sales data and I can identify exactly where your problem is coming from, what you need to do less of, what you need to do more of. That is what competence says. Now, hiring managers in the UK, in US, in Canada, and beyond, they see hundreds of people with Google certificates every week. They are not impressed anymore. They're looking for people who can actually execute. So when you walk into an interview, they're not thinking, does this person have nice certificates? What they're thinking is, can this person walk in on Monday morning and immediately make our business more profitable? Everyone is looking out for what benefits them. So no company is going to hire you because maybe you speak well, or maybe you smile well, or you talk well, or you know how to make everybody laugh, you know how to make everybody comfortable. All of that is very nice, yes, but the critical thing is, can you make us money? That is the question these businesses are asking, and those are the skills that you need to be able to demonstrate when you walk into those rooms. The global job market is not waiting for you to feel certified enough. Today, companies are hiring competent people, and some people are still debating whether they need one more certificate. Meanwhile, someone with half your education, but twice your demonstrated skills is getting the job that you've always wanted. So this is a decision point. Do you want to be the person with impressive certificates and no job offers? Or do you want to be the person with proven competence and to have employers fighting over you? This was a post by Elon Musk, and I find it really interesting because back then, back in those days, it really was about the school that you went to. It was like, oh, this is a Harvard graduate. Oh, she went to Yale. Everyone was so psyched about all of those big names. Today, nobody cares. Nobody cares. Some of the world's changing tech companies were built by people who were university dropouts. So nobody cares what big name you've got on your certificate. Elon is saying here that he doesn't care what big name company you've worked at. He doesn't care what certificate you have, or if you don't have any certificates. He just wants somebody who can get the job done. And if Elon, like the world's richest man, is saying, I don't care about certificates, do you think that these employers, these jobs that you're looking to get in Google, in IBM, and the rest, you think they care about where you went to school? They don't care. What they want to see is proof that you can get the job done. So I want to do a quick check to see how everyone feels about this, right? So I'm going to give us a quick scenario. You own a business and you need a photographer urgently. So you run a recruitment and then you shortlist two candidates. One of them has an Instagram and a TikTok page, and it's filled with beautiful pictures that he took in different scenarios. While another one has a resume that tells you what he has done. He says, oh, I used to work at ABC photo studio. I took 5 pictures a day. I edited those 5 pictures, and they came out looking fantastic. Now you've got another candidate who actually attached, this is my Instagram, this is my TikTok page, and these are the pictures that I have taken. So who would you hire? Would you hire the guy with the Instagram page and the TikTok page, or would you hire the guy who has a resume that says, oh, I did this, I took 5 pictures, I took 6 pictures? I'd love to hear from you. What do you think? Who would you hire? Would you hire the first guy? Would you hire the second guy? Interesting. Ibironke would hire the guy with the social media presence. Fantastic. Exactly. Exactly. Because what else are you looking for? You're looking for a photographer. You're looking for someone who can actually get the job done. And with this, you can actually see this is what this person has done. And I can see that, okay, yeah, you're good at your job. I'll give another example. When you're looking for a social media manager, I've recruited for a social media manager a couple of times. There's one thing that I do not do when I'm looking for social media managers. I don't even like to go through their resumes. There are some roles where, yeah, you can go through resumes, but once I see that there's no portfolio attached to it, I just move on. Because what I want to see from a social media manager, I want to see that these are the pages I manage. I want to see screenshots of Google Analytics. I want to see screenshots of your Instagram analytics, your meta analytics. I want to see that you have data that shows that you were able to gain 10, you got 10,000 impressions. And from these 10,000 impressions, you had these people who interacted with the brand. That is competence, not what your resume is saying. Now let's move on quickly. We're coming to the end of this session, and now we're just going to like talk more about the package area and why this is so critical to your job search. 100% honesty, skills alone do not get you hired. That is the basis of everything we've been saying today. If it did, every certificate holder, everybody who is a certificate holder would currently be working in the UK, in the US, in Canada. As a matter of fact, companies would not be listing vacancies anymore. You know, but most of these people, they aren't. We've got so many vacancies. People can tell you from today to tomorrow that, oh, jobs, they're not jobs, no, they are jobs. There are jobs, you know, you just don't have the skills for the jobs. So why exactly aren't you getting this job? It is because you have not packaged yourself to be an irresistible candidate. And that game is what we teach you at 10 Analytics, how to look like a professional hire, even though you've never worked in tech before. So how do we do it? Again, portfolio, very, very important. Very important. Your portfolio is your show, not tell. Your portfolio is what tells hiring managers that, hey, you know, this is what I've done before, and I can certainly do this in your company. So let me also tell you something else. You see, a lot of hiring managers, they don't even understand the roles that they are recruiting for. For example, the way it typically works is if I want to recruit for a role today, I would I would tell HR, hey, I want to recruit for a QA. And then HR would say, okay, cool. This is not, maybe HR has never recruited a QA before, or maybe I want to recruit for an astronaut. I will say, hey, I want to recruit for an astronaut. Why? I want to take 10 analytics to space. And then HR would say, okay, fantastic. So here is a form. I would like you to detail everything you are looking for in this role. And then I would say, okay, I want this person to be able to, you know, talk. I want this person to be able to be comfortable doing this, to know how to use Excel, to know how to use Power BI. So HR will take all of these requirements that I have listed and use that to build a job description, and then come to me and say, look at this job description. What do you think about it? Now, the main thing I want you to keep in mind here is that HR does not know how to, this is not their job. So this is why it is so critical that when you are building your portfolio, when you're building your resume, you're not speaking Chinese to somebody who only speaks English. It has to be, a child needs to be able to pick up your resume, look at it, pick up your portfolio, look at it, and actually understand what you have done. So you make your portfolio as simple as possible. Because if I'm coming in to review your resume, I don't work in NASA, but say I got a job in NASA as in the HR department, I'm told to recruit for an astronaut. I have no idea what I'm supposed to be looking for. So I'm just going to instinctively go for the candidates who make my life better, which that is another critical thing as well that we also teach you at 10 Analytics, those skills that you need to craft a job ready portfolio that would get these recruiters searching for you. Now, another thing is CV review and revamp. We also teach you how to craft tailored resumes that, you know, match the exact role that you're applying for. If your resume looks like 1995, like you've got your marital status there, you've got your age there, you've got your religion there, then you're that was like Bill Gates' resume back in the 90s. And that's not going to work in today's job world. Today, there's a system called ATS, And with this ATS, your resume doesn't even get to the HR company. Companies are able to set this ATS up with tools like Workday and others. And then what this AI, they work with AI scanners. And the AI scanners would, so imagine I post a role now when I say I'm looking for someone who knows how to use Tableau or someone who knows how to use Excel. Now, you're a data analyst. This is literally your bread and butter. However, these words are not in your resume. You're a data analyst, you've got 10 years of experience in the workspace, but these my job description and not in your resume. So because again, I told HR that I'm looking for somebody who can use Power BI. I'm looking for someone who can use Excel. I'm looking for someone who can use Tableau. HR has gone to tell the ATS, hey, these are the keywords I'm looking for in this in the ideal candidate's resume. Now the AI is automatically filtering out resumes that do not have those keywords. So you see how you are already at a disadvantage if you do not customize your resume to fit the jobs that you are applying for. Now, when imagine you now have the right keywords in your resume, and then your resume now gets to the table of a real person and they're reviewing it and they don't even understand what they're looking at. They're wondering how did anybody even build this kind of resume? So this is why we give you a proper template, and you can run with that template and keep and just build on it and adapt it to any role that you're applying for. Now, another thing is LinkedIn optimization. LinkedIn optimization is very important because instinctively, when I'm recruiting, instinctively, I go to LinkedIn. Like as soon as I open the person's resume, I'm already searching for your link. I don't know why I do that, but it's just instinct. I want to go to your LinkedIn and I want to see. And for me specifically, I'm not even looking for your post or anything. What I want to see is I want to see your experience listed out there. I want to see how long you worked here. I want to see maybe you've got recommendations. I'm just looking for things that can convince me that you are the ideal candidate. And this is why it's so important that if you are job hunting, your LinkedIn has to be optimized. And when we talk about optimization, we're not saying put the banner of, hey, I'm open to a job. Jesus, no, don't do that. What we're talking about is optimizing your LinkedIn to a point where you're getting emails from recruiters who are saying, hey, would you like to work? Would you like to apply for this job? If your LinkedIn has reached that stage and you know that you have reached, you've reached the, what you might call it, you've reached the great or the legendary status where you're now getting DMs from recruiters without you even applying for those jobs. So that is part of what we work with you to help you do, to optimize your LinkedIn, so that when people search data analyst in UK, Ronke is showing up. Ibi Ronke is showing up. You're showing up because you have customized your LinkedIn, and now your searchable SEO results, fantastic. When people go there, they have a link to your portfolio and they can just see what you have done. Very critical if you are job searching. Now, another thing that we do is we also help you navigate the job market. Now, what does navigating the job markets mean? The job markets can be very intimidating, especially when you're job searching in a role that maybe this is a career switch for you. It can all be very intimidating. You used to work in customer support or you were doing care work, and now you're a cybersecurity analyst, and you're going into all of these interviews. You're speaking to all of these people who've spent decades doing what they've been doing now, and you're applying for all of these jobs. In fact, before you even get to the point where you have to speak to these people, you have to be able to get in through the door. And that is where the navigating the job market part comes in. We assist you with things like we assist you with jobs that you can apply for. Like I mentioned before, it can be you're a business analyst, but then you're thinking you see an operations analyst role and you have no idea that this is actually something that applies to you, because you're just focused on business analysis. So we partner with job boards and we scrape job boards that you would not typically have access to, not your typical Indeed, not your LinkedIn, not your Glassdoor, and then we send you these jobs. We do this weekly, by the way, so you have fresh jobs that you can apply to every week with very low competition, very low competition. Now, another thing that we also help you with is interview prep sessions. Now, watching someone, watching, going for interviews, it might seem like it's it's intimidating, you know. And yeah, the honest truth is that it is, you know, especially when you're interviewing for a role that you've never worked in that role officially before, and then they're throwing questions at you. It can be very intimidating, which is why this interview prep session is very important. I mean, just this week alone, I was in interview prep sessions with a couple of people who had some like very important job interviews, and they were very anxious about it, and it was like holding their hands and walking them through it, like, hey, you can do it. I remember telling someone, I said, look, you walk in there, you're thinking, oh my gosh, these people, they're so amazing, they've done this stuff before, but you too, like in the next 5 years, you know, someone is going to be looking at you, someone is going to be saying the same thing. And besides, this person who you think is all that, you know, probably isn't even all that. Maybe if you've learned, you're up to date, maybe that person isn't even as up to date as you are. So don't be intimidated. For a lot of people, like you go in for these job interviews, you forget that the packaging aspect, like the interview part, is a very critical part of it. I'll give an example. If you're applying for a job in places like McKinsey and others, what they do is that they put you on the hot seat. So say you're coming in as a business analyst, they would put you on the hot seat. So this is not the typical tell me about yourself question. Tell me about a time when you tell me this. No, they're asking you questions like, hey, so you mentioned that they would build a scenario for you. They would say, oh, a company is losing 20% of its revenue. It's bleeding red, 20%. And they have no idea why they're bleeding red. Maybe they've got a branch in 3 different continents, and they would build a business case for you, just give you some context, and then they'll say, figure it out. So how would you react in those kind of like high pressure environment? How would you carry yourself? Which is why interview prep session is very important. Now, another critical part is job reference. Job reference means that so you've gotten past the CV revamp, LinkedIn optimization, you found jobs to apply to, you are prepared for your interviews. Now you've gotten to the offer stage, and then the job says, send me your job reference. So what we do is that we encourage people that from the first day you start working in 10 Analytics, add us on your LinkedIn, and don't list us as I was a student in 10 Analytics. You list your experience as a consultant with 10 Analytics, so that when these employers or recruiters, they look at your resume, they look at your LinkedIn profile or your resume, especially if you don't have global experience, they would say, oh, you've worked in a Canadian company before. So that is one reason why it's so critical, because recruiters in the UK, in the US, in Canada, and beyond, they don't want to hire someone. So say you're Kenyan and you move to Canada, and now you're moving around and trying to get a job. Nobody wants to hire you because they're not sure how you would fit in with the new culture that you're in, which is another reason why we always advise people that when you start, just add 10 analytics to your resume. I'm going to be talking more about another company that you get to add to your resume when you join 10 Analytics as a participant. Now, another thing that we also provide is on-the-job support. On-the-job support, because when you get the job, it's not that just because you got a job that you don't need support anymore. The truth is that we've had students who have come back to us and said, hey, I need help with this. Hey, I need help with that. Recently, we've had to deal with some cases with some people saying, oh, I need help with Workday. I have no idea how to do this Workday optimization. It's very critical for my role. And we provide them with that on-the-job support. Seriously, guys, where else are you going to see all of this combined into one package? And nobody is saying that, oh, you're going to be paying for this. You pay another fee for LinkedIn optimization. You pay another fee for navigating the job market. You pay another fee for interview prep sessions. This is what you get. This is your right when you sign up with 10 Analytics. And that's why I said, we're not just here to give you the skills, we are here to get you a job. Now, part of that is also giving you access to weekly mentorship programs as well, because hey, you also want to speak to the people who have done this before. You also want to get advice from other people. Like I said, community driven. We are very, very big on community. And then another thing that we also help you out with is optimization of your Upwork profile, so that if in case maybe you're just getting started and you're still building your portfolio, you want to add maybe more projects, and you want to put yourself out there and start earning some money before you get an official job offer. Fantastic, we can help you out with your optimization. Some of these can be very technical and difficult for some people to navigate. Now, remember that I said I was going to walk you through again on this. When you join Analytics, we always advise our students to immediately add 10 Analytics to their LinkedIn, update your resume, and add us as an experience there. Another thing that you also get to do, because your training is designed for 8 months. So you spend 6 months with 10 Analytics, and then you spend 2 months doing your internship with Amdari. Now, Ten Analytics is registered in Canada. That is where we operate from. And Dari is also is registered in the UK. So it's like you're getting Canadian experience, you're also getting UK experience as well. And you can package this and put it on your resume. This is literally packaging. But aside from the packaging aspect, the internship is very critical to building a portfolio, very critical to building your show, not tell phase. So keep that in mind, guys. 8 months program, 6 months with Analytics, and 2 months with Amdari. Now, this is where 90% of people mess up in the apply aspect. I've touched a bit on this, right? So when it comes to applying, you spray out 100 generic applications, you copy and paste your resume, and then you wonder why nobody's calling you back. Nobody's going to call you back, because one of the things that we always advise people is never reuse a CV when applying to jobs. And I believe I've mentioned why this is so important for us to avoid, because you fall into this chasm where everybody is, the other people that you're in competition with, they're optimizing their resumes, you're not doing that. And then these keywords that is so critical to this job description is not there. I've told you this is how people recruit for these roles. A manager would say, oh, I need this role, I need a designer on my team. As if I say I am looking for a marketing expert today, if I say I'm looking for a data analyst today, I've got a very specific problem that I'm trying to solve. And because I have a specific problem I'm trying to solve, or what I want this person to do, my needs are specific. And this is what HR is going to take and use to build a job description. So why do you think that just because I'm looking for a data analyst, and I'm in analytics, that another person who is in Google, who is looking for a data analyst, will be looking for the same kind of data analyst that I'm looking for, because now the assumption is that we are trying to solve the same problem. That's not true. We are different companies. We have different needs. We have a different target audience. This is why you never reuse your CV when you are applying to jobs, and why it's so critical for you to refine your resume. It's a lot of work, guys, I know, but if you want to get results, this is just something that you're going to have to do. And like I mentioned before, we also help you scrape job boards, exclusive job boards. We're in partnership with, we have partners that we get all of these jobs from that do not have as many competition as the rest of them do, like jobs on Indeed, jobs on LinkedIn, all of these free boards. Free boards are accessible to all and everybody. Everybody has access to free jobs. And because everybody has access to it, you've got thousands and thousands of applications, per job listing. And that reduces your chances of getting seen, or people, of recruiters seeing just how amazing you are. So what we do is that we scrape, for example, we can scrape UK visa job boards, that sponsor, and that we can look for jobs that actually have visa sponsorships. and then we highlight these roles. Otherwise, for some of these roles, like I mentioned before, you might scroll past, you might see operations analyst, and in reality, it's a business analyst role. You might see process automation specialist, and in reality, it's a business analyst role. So that's part of the difference that we have in 10 analytics. What sets us apart in the market is that we don't just tell you to just apply for more jobs. We also hand you filtered hidden opportunities that can help you shortcut that process. And this is part of why our learners will go from weeks of silence, before joining us, months of silence, months of rejection letters, to multiple interviews in a matter of days and weeks. I mean, we've had people who have joined us and they haven't even gotten to the end of their program. 3 months in, you heard Hope's story at the beginning. 3 months in, and they've already landed a job. That is how powerful the LPA system is. Now, another thing that we also give you access to, again, is mentorship material. So what you can see on the right side of my screen, you can see here LinkedIn optimization. You can see don't wait until you meet all the criteria to apply for a job. So we have interview simulations. We have broken down all of these things that are so critical to you getting employed in the market, and we're giving you access to all of this, which again highlights my point that the goal is not to teach you a skill. The goal is to help you get a job. So now when you put all of this together, all of this framework I've walked you through, you have the learn, you have package, you have apply. Now, this is no longer training. This is no longer getting a skill. This is a system that can help you build the exact profile that hiring managers are looking for, a system that can get you in front of them, a system that makes it very hard for hiring managers to ignore you. Now, let me ask you, now that we've walked through the LPA framework, if you had to be very honest with yourself, which part of the system have you been missing the most? Is it learn? Is it package? Or is it apply? I would love to know what we all think. And by the way, we are rounding up already, but I would love to know what you think. What part of this framework has been missing in your job search strategy? Is it the learn? Is it the package? Or is it the apply? Or maybe it's all of them. Feel free. You can drop that in the chat section. Let's see what we've all been missing. Okay, we've got June who said all. We've got Emily who said package mainly. Interesting. Okay, so Emily, you've got the learn aspect covered. You've got the apply aspect covered to an extent, but then package. Okay, so we've got all from Anthony. We've got Nelson who's saying all. Don't feel weird about it, guys. That's exactly why we're here in 10 Analytics, so we can help you answer these questions that you have. So now that we've established the LPA system, let's look at someone who actually applies this system and got results. Now, what I want you to do is, when you're listening to Judith's story, I want you to envision yourself and just think about what it would be like if you're the one who's sharing your breakthrough story and saying, yeah, so I joined analytics and this is the results that I got. Judith is a perfect example of someone who applied everything I have walked you through and got amazing results. So when she came into analytics, she was working as a carer in the UK. Now on paper, there was nothing about Judith that screamed tech job. But what most people did not know was that Judith already had years and years of HR experience. The problem was that Judith just didn't know how she could translate that kind of experience into transferable skills or into roles in companies that companies were actually hiring for in the UK. So when she came to the UK, she just became a carer because she thought, well, nobody's going to hire me. I don't have enough experience for this. So I'm wondering if this sounds familiar to you. You've got skills, you've got the experience, but when it comes to breaking into tech, and maybe you're in Canada, maybe you're in UK, maybe you were doing this back home before you relocated, but you're now stuck at the how do I reposition myself stage. So what did Judith do? She used the LPA system. She joined our business analysis program. She showed up for mentorship session. She reviewed her CV from scratch. She prepped for interviews. And then Judith went from no calls to job offer in hand. Now, one thing that made the difference for Judith was that she wasn't doing this alone. She had her internal job board when she needed real roles to apply to. She had references when recruiters asked for references. She had months of practical projects and interview prep. So when the offer came, Judith was already ready because she had been preparing. She followed the LPA system. That is the blueprint. And Judith is proof that it's not about where you start, it's about whether you follow the right system. So I'm just going to let you hear it from Judith's mouth. She's going to share it in her own words, how she went from care work
Do you need
to her dream job.
More control? Then you need VPS hosting from Hostinger.
That pressure really helped me. That in this job now, I'm about to take a higher role. Yeah, I'm about to take a higher role because within a few months, my boss was like, oh, you know, I see you're very good. I said, yes. I got my training with analytics and they're very good. Even my classmates that we went to school together in the UK, most of them are asking me. I've referred about 25 of them to analytics.
Here, a popular face on the channel, Mr. Deza Suleiman, and I also have here Judith, aka Ngozi, aka I can help people get good jobs abroad. So, Madam Judith, today I just want you to share something brief about yourself. I know that you don't have time, and also share an honest advice for migrants who are looking for well-paying jobs abroad. Okay, your honest, genuine advice. Okay, pass fast.
All right, so thank you everyone for having me. I remember I was also a carer when I met Tolu. Yeah, I met her when she went to drop her child in school, same school with my daughter. And then she was telling me, oh, why not going to tech? I was like, what do you mean going to tech? Is that what you do? And then she said yes, that she got a job after she had a training with analytics. I was like, wow, then give me the link because I've been trying to get one, and then the one I got was in London. I was so expensive. I even bless God I haven't paid. So when she shared analytics with me, I went to check on Instagram and I saw it. And then I joined. The fee was very okay because compared to what I was going to pay for, that one was so high. You know, and then they were not my people. Of course, I might not even hear them speak. So I joined analytics and then I took the training, and of which before I joined analytics, I've tried to, because I studied computer science, I've tried getting jobs. I couldn't get, I was just doing healthcare jobs, which I wasn't even okay with. So, but then after I finished my training, I just remember that there was just, the only thing I did that I wasn't doing before was that the templates analytics gave for CV after the training, I just changed my CV to that. I changed the format and then I submitted it back to this same company that hired me in the US that I've been trying to get into for a long time. And then I got the job. It was just so surprising. I got the job.
Wow. So you're currently working for this US company?
Yes.
So you're living.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. And you've heard from Judith in her own words how she was able to get a job as a business analyst from working as a carer because she applied the LPA framework that I just walked you through. Now, like I said before, you could be the next person sharing your story. So let's get into it because we have reached a major decision point. And that decision point is, what course are you going for? So let's do a quick refresher. We've got business analysts. Now, if you work as a business analyst, you can think about them as translators. Like I said before, they take big business problems, they translate them into solutions that tech teams can actually build. If you're coming as a business analyst, we would be learning things like process mapping, like Excel, Power BI, SQL, Agile and Scrum for projects. We'll be teaching you how to use tools like Power BI, Confluence, Trello, Draw.io, ChatGPT. And you're going to see ChatGPT is a recurring theme for many of these courses. We've also got Agile Project Management and Scrum Master as well. So if business analysts define the problem, APMs, they drive the solution. They make sure that the project does not drag on for months. They deliver value very quickly. piece by piece using real user feedback. So with this course, you're going to be learning how to understand the Scrum. You're going to be understanding the Scrum framework. You're going to learn end-to-end use of Jira and Confluence in project management. You're going to learn how to use Kanban boards for workflow management. You're going to learn the foundations of Agile and Scrum. Now, like I said before, there are some similarities. You're going to be using tools like Confluence. You're going to be using tools like Jira. You're going to be learning ChatGPT as well, even under Agile Project Management, because this is also like very critical. AI is literally changing the way we work in the world, and you can use AI in any role. There's also data engineering as well. As a data engineer, you would first of all, you get introduced to data engineering, then we would walk you through SQL, we will teach you Python programming, we will teach you APIs, web scraping, again, ChatGPT, GitHub, Google Cloud, Microsoft. You would learn all of the tools that are important for you to function as a data engineer. And just in case you have forgotten what data engineers do, they are the ones who are building pipelines, cleaning raw data, and making sure that businesses actually have usable data. Now, we've also got data scientists as well. Now, a data scientist is someone who makes sure that once the data is flowing, it's also smart, and they turn that data into predictions. Who is going to buy this? Which customers are going to churn? Where are the risks? And you come in as a data analyst with 10 analytics, you'll be learning things like statistics, Python programming, SQL, machine learning, computer vision. So just like data engineer, this is not something that you want to go for if you are not technically inclined. You would also be learning how to use tools like Excel, like Tableau, SQL, ChatGPT as well. And we've also got data analysts as well. As a data analyst, what you will be doing is, I would say that data analysts answer today's question. They use yesterday's data to answer today and tomorrow's question, which is like, why did this happen? What should we do next? What is most likely going to happen if we don't do this? Every team needs a data analyst. It's literally one of the fastest paths to getting hired. With this track, you will be learning things like problem solving, Excel, data storytelling, ChatGPT, Microsoft, etc. And then there's also the financial analyst as well. For financial analysts, I think it's very clear. It's literally in the name. A financial analyst turns companies' data into clear answers. We're talking about profit, loss, growth, anything that has to do with the financials of the company. That is what a financial analyst does. They look at the data to say, what story is this data telling us? Where are we losing money? How can we increase our revenue based on the data that we are seeing right now? So as a financial analyst, you would be learning things like problem solving, Excel, Power BI, financial modeling, valuation, because we have to know, of course, where is the money going and what is this worth? And you would also be learning SQL, ChatGPT as well. We've also got HR analysts. Now, for those of us who don't know, a HR analyst is someone who uses data to improve hiring, retention, and performance. You would be reducing turnover, you would be forecasting what staff need, you would be improving the ROI of whatever processes that help retain your staff in the company. So we would be walking you through things like problem solving, Excel, Power BI, HR metrics and life cycle, ChatGPT for analytics, HR analytics and performance evaluation. You would be learning tools like Excel, SQL, ChatGPT, Power BI. All of these are essential for you to be a HR analyst. And last but not least, because definitely in the few coming months, we've got a couple of surprises coming up. But yes, we've also got cyber security. We're going to end this with one of the hottest, most mission critical roles. Cybersecurity analysts, like we have discussed before, keep companies safe from breaches that can cost millions of dollars and destroy reputations overnight. So as a cybersecurity analyst, you come in, you'll be learning things like information security principles and risk management, governance and compliance framework, security awareness, training and reporting, malware analysis and threat actor profiling, all the tools, all the things that you need in order for you to become a cybersecurity analyst that is completely irresistible in the market. Now, part of the tools that you're going to be using or learning includes tools like Wireshark, Splunk, Microsoft Defender, WebCheck, Whois, Kali, and the rest. Okay, so now one thing to note here is that for all of these programs that we have, all of these programs, we have two kinds of, we have classes on Saturdays, live classes. We have classes in the morning, and then we have classes in the evening as well. Morning classes run from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. and we use West African time for this. And then evening classes run from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. We also use the West African time for this. Now we've also got the self-paced, like I've mentioned before. These are do-it-yourself videos. And when you've got questions, you can come into your live class as well. You can also book sessions with your facilitators to maybe answer any questions that maybe, and those we call those drop-in sessions, to answer any questions that maybe were not covered in the live class. Now, the learning timeline for all of these courses is 6 months. All of these courses, after 6 months, you move to Amdari and you are doing your 2 months internship. You learn with Tenalytics for 6 months, and then after that, you move to Amdari for your 2 months internship. And like I mentioned again before, I'm just going to say it again, you also get the opportunity to use Tenalytics and Amdari on your resume as well. So you can say, oh, I've worked with a Canadian company, and I have also worked with a company registered in the UK. So you have proper global experience. How many people can boast of that just because they took a course with Google or IBM? Now, the classes remain the same. So Saturday live class, morning from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., evening from 6 p.m. to 3 p.m. And then you've also got your self-paced, do-it-yourself videos. We've also got mentorship sessions as well and interview preps. Those happen on Thursdays, 10 p.m. Watts. And yeah, so then again, we've also got your self-paced as well, watch me do it videos. So the question that you're probably asking yourself is, how can I get started today? And I hope that's the question that you're asking. Now, our next cohort starts September 6th. If you've made it this far, it's because you're very serious about making a move. And I would love to see everyone on this call in our next cohort. Now, this is genuinely the best time to jump in, because what we've done is that we've slashed down this program and we're giving you a 20% discount on all, this is off all of our 8 core programs, 20% discount, business analysis, data analytics, HR, financial, agile, data engineering, data science, whatever it is you want to go for, you've got 20% discount. I don't know if you know the Oprah video where she says, you know, you get a, so it's like, you get a discount, you get a discount, everybody gets a discount. I wish that was the case. Unfortunately, it's not. This is capped at 20 people in each cohort. So 20 people in each cohort. Once we reach that max, it closes. Either that, or by Monday, this revert, this, you no longer have the 20% discount, that goes down to 15%. So this discount is for the people who move very fast right now and lock down. If you want to lock it down immediately, and you get to pay $800 instead of $1,000. Now, we've also got a couple of other interesting things that you would definitely be interested in. I'm just going to walk you through what payments looks like and how you can make payments. Now, you can also scan the QR code as well. If you're maybe you've got your phone with you and you've got your laptop or your tab in front of you, you can scan this and it's going to take you to the payments page immediately for you to lock down your spot. Remember, this 20% discount is not going to be here forever. Before you know it, it's gone. So you want to take advantage of it while it's here. So I'm just going to quickly walk you through what this looks like when you make your payments. Okay, so you're going to come to, when you make your pay, you're going to come to this page when you're about to make your payment. And in this page, you're going to find all of the courses that we have in analytics, from data to business to financial to HR. So whatever it is that you're interested in going for, it's entirely up to you. So let's say you want to go for full stack data scientist, you click on buy now. When you click on buy now, you can come, it leads you to a page where you can just read more information about it. You can just click on enroll now. Enroll now leads you to create a free account. And for this, you want to make sure that you use an email that you always have access to. That is very critical, that you use an email that you always have access to. So I'm just going to get an email that I can use here. So I'm going to use this email, and yeah, this is my email. I'm going to put in a phone number, and then I'm going to click that I have read the terms and conditions. Please read the terms and conditions. Do not skip over that. I know that a lot of times people tend to skip over terms and conditions, but do that, please. Now, when you get to this page, you can see that your discount has been applied. You've got a 20% discount. Now, here's a very interesting and amazing part, actually. So depending on how many times you want to make your payments, by the way, you can pay instrumentally. You don't have to pay at once. For those of us who would like to, maybe you can want to spread your payments for the next 5 months, you can absolutely do that. You can pay in tranches, and that means you can pay 160 monthly for the next 5 months. If you want to pay for 4 months, you can do that. You pay $200 monthly. If you want to pay in 3 installments, you can do that. You pay $266 monthly for 3 months. Now, if you choose to make a full payment, or you choose to pay in 2 monthly installments, you get an additional discount. Now, you know that if you're spreading your payments out, 3 installments, 4 installments, 5 installments, you're getting a discount of 20%. That is if you lock it down today. You choose to make your full payment, if you choose to you choose to pay in 2 monthly installments, then that means that you will get an additional discount. Instead of paying 800, you would pay 760. So let's just select here that I want to make full payment, and then I'm just going to go to the next page. Okay, so now it's applying my discount. And here I can confirm my enrollment. I can see my name, I can see my email address, I can see my phone number, I can see the cohorts that I selected. Oh, and by the way, you can select more than one cohort. I'm just going to go back just so I can stress on that point. You can see here, you can either select the cohort that starts September 6th, or you can select the cohort that starts in October 2025. But I would definitely suggest that you just get started right away, because the theme of everything that we've been speaking about today is execution. Let's get into it. Okay, so now we're on the final page before we move to where we make our payments, and then our discount code has been applied. We just go now to the last page where we're going to impute our payment details. So here, this is where I'm going to impute my card details. I'm going to put in my card information here. And then I'm going to put in the month and the year. Okay. And then I'm going to pay. Fantastic. So now my payment has been confirmed. You can see here that my payment was successful. I have successfully enrolled in the course. It literally takes you 2 minutes. 2 minutes for you to complete this process, and that is it. You are stepping into a new era of your life with 10 Analytics. Now, once you are done with your payments, you gain access to your dashboard. Now, another critical thing that you must remember is that when you put in your email address, please go and check. We sent you a code that you can use to verify your account. I'm just going to go copy the code that was sent to me. I'm going to go back here. I'm going to paste the code in to verify. You can see that my email has been verified successfully. Now I have access to my dashboard. and it literally just took me a few minutes. Now, another thing is that we're just going to quickly collect some details here so you can select your country of residence. If you live in the United States, if you're in the UK, if you're in Canada, you can select that. If you're a man, if you're a woman, if you prefer not to say, that's fine. You can also indicate your preferred time for the classes here as well. Do you want to be in the morning class? Do you want to be in the evening class? I'm going to select evening because I'm a night owl. And you can also say, indicate how you found out about 10 analytics here. And if you have another email, please put it in here. So just in case, maybe your other email is not reachable, maybe something happens, you can also do that. You can also have your other email here. You can input a referral code if you have a referral code. Sometimes we send out referral codes to alumni, and anything else you want to put here, this is optional. And you can also say how much time you can commit weekly to this. The reason why we're asking this again is because what we are looking for here, we don't want you to say, oh, I just want to register here and I just want to like get a skill. We want you to get a job. So with this, we can say, okay, so June said she can only commit 7 hours per week or 1 or 3 hours per week. That's very low, June. What kind of support do you need? That is the goal. The goal is to help you get a job. Okay, so now that I've completed this, you can see that I have access to my dashboard. This is my enrolled course. This is my completed course, 0. And then here, one really cool thing is that you can actually, if you have an interview, so once you start your learning and you now start, sending out your resume, and now you have this interview that just, you're worried, you're thinking, oh my goodness, oh, I don't know what to do. I've got an interview, I'm so nervous about it. You can schedule an appointment and we will walk you through it. We would help you answer questions, we'll give you tips on how to prepare for the interview and how to walk in and own that room like a boss. Now you can also request a reference letter here as well. So you have access to your dashboard even after your course has been completed with Analytics. You can always log in here. If you need a reference letter, you can always come in here and request that. You can also see your enrolled course here as well. If you go to your billing history, this is a test account. So I don't have anything here, but here you can see how much payment you have left to make and just manage the entire process from your billing section, the entire process for your payments. So that is it. I hope that some of us here have already locked down our spots. Now, my colleagues are going to be sharing in the comments in the chat section the link for you to just click and go directly to lock down your spot today. Remember that this discount is not going to be here forever. And like we already discussed, execution is critical when it comes to things like this. Fast movers get the rewards. The early bird gets everything, the early bird gets everything, gets the worm. Isn't that what they say? Okay, now another thing that we're also adding here is that for people who register within the next 24 hours, you also get free access to Amdari's vault for 1 month. Now you're probably wondering, what is Amdari? You've heard me say Amdari, that you would be working, that you would spend the next 2 months after you graduate from 10 Analytics, 2 months working with Amdari. Now, what Amdari is where you do your internship. Amdari is where you gain access to the projects that you can put in your portfolio to make yourself look irresistible in the market. So here you would also be able to get access to many projects that you can work on that would make your portfolio look resistible, that would make these recruiters chase you down. Hey, I want you on my team. So remember, please keep this in mind, that the discount is for the first 20 people to register in each group, or it would close by Monday. Whichever one comes first. We reach 20 people, you lose access to that discount, or Monday and it shuts down, you lose access to that discount. So I mean, I'm really excited. I can see that someone said they just paid, so you're actually ready to step into it. It's really amazing, fantastic. So just to mention, we got into the Alberta Catalyzer Velocity Program in October 2024, and one comment that we've always gotten from people, which is, maybe people partners or people who are looking to just work with Analytics is how amazing it is, the kind of community that we have been able to build in Analytics. And that's why I said at the beginning that we are so community driven. Everything we do is built on community, and I would love for you to be a part of that community. So again, if you haven't filled the form that my colleagues have been dropping in the chat section, please do that so that you can get access to everything that we have discussed here today, and you can look at some of these reports and yeah, just spend your own time, no pressure, look through it, and let us know if you have any comments. We're also going to be uploading this on YouTube as well. You can watch the YouTube video, drop any comments you have, drop your likes, and I really do look forward to seeing everyone that we have here who is still with us. I look forward to seeing you on the program. So that brings my presentation to an end. Super excited. I've got about 59 people who stayed with me until the end of this. Fantastic. You guys are just super amazing. I'm just going to be taking some quick questions before we wrap it up and call it a day. Okay, I can see Julius is saying that discount time is too short. Julius, honestly speaking, I would say that I do get where you're coming from, but that is we also, even though it closes on Monday, we've also done our best, to extend it as much as we can. Now, if you cannot lock down for this month, then maybe next month, although, but I would say that time waits for no one. The honest truth is that we cannot extend the discount, because the more people that we take in, I'm sure for those of us who are leaning towards business analysis, I'm sure you can already start doing the calculations and telling the impact on the business, because we actually run this discount every month to help as many people as we can get into the program without having to pay the full fee. Okay, I can see from Linda, I already paid, but I didn't receive the Amdari. Okay, interesting. Linda, if you could just maybe if you want to unmute yourself and speak, or maybe you want to type in the chat section when you paid, or did you just pay right now? You can do that, or you can just drop my colleagues have already noted this comment, so someone would definitely reach out to you to give you access. But I'm not sure if you're talking about the Amdari vault or if you've reached 6 months. But the way it works with Analytics and Amdari is that after 6 months, like I said before, after 6 months of learning with Analytics, you do your capstone project, and then you now spend the next 2 months with Amdari. So you start to work with Amdari 6 months after learning with Analytics. It's like you graduate from Analytics and then you move into your internship. So if you paid a while ago, and maybe you are at the end, which I paid on Wednesday. Oh, fantastic. So you just paid on Wednesday, Linda. You haven't gotten to that stage yet. But if you need more clarity on it, we have noted your comment, and my colleague can reach out to you and explain the process very well to you. Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much, Ibironke. I'm glad that you enjoyed the presentation. When is your anniversary? Maybe we could get a 50% discount. Okay, Samuel, that was really funny. That cracked me up. Yes, our anniversary is actually August. Interesting. Yes, we clocked 5 years in August. We actually had our anniversary celebration. We had it in Canada. And I don't know if any of you were following the updates on our social media, but yes, Analytics clocked 5 in August. We're super excited about that. But yeah, there's no special anniversary discount. So if you want to lock down your spot, you've got the 20% discount. And please note that if you miss this window, that you're going to be working with post Monday. From Monday, Tuesday, it goes back to, it drops down to 15% discount. So yeah, okay, I can see a comment here from Augustina. Is there study packs? Definitely. Honor, yes, you get study packs. I'm not sure what you mean though explicitly by study packs. Do you want to unmute yourself and explain? Maybe you mean something else. Okay. But I will explain what you get when you sign up with analytics though. So what you get is you get access to your dashboard. You have videos that you can watch. You can see your curriculum as well. You have access to a live class. So maybe if you could explain what you mean by study class, I would study packs, that would really help me understand how to respond to you. Okay, Augustina, I already paid on the 12th of August, but I am very engaged now. Okay, I can see your hand up, Honor. Just a minute, I'll get to you again. I already paid on the 12th of August, but I am very engaged now. So I would be joining the October cohort. When do July 8 months starts to count? You paid on the 12th of August. You are very engaged now. You'll be joining the October cohort. So I'm guessing, Augustina, that you selected the October cohort when you made your payments. Yeah, so it starts to count when you get into your, so if you selected that you were starting in October, that is when your cohort starts to count. That is when your cohort starts to count. Oh no, I can see that your hand is up. Yes, you can unmute yourself. Okay, do I help unmute? Okay, I can ask you to unmute. Okay, Honor, I can see that your hand is up. Okay, fantastic.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you very much for the wonderful presentation. And although I got to know about this program just yesterday, and indeed I am blessed, and God bless you. So I happens to be the person who asked that is there study packs. And what I mean by that is that I mean the materials to learn with, since everything is going to be done virtually. So that's what I mean by is there going to be study packs? So
Okay, I think I get where you're coming from now. Absolutely. So that's why I said we have two different kind of models. We have the LMS, and with the LMS, you can get videos that you can watch at your own convenience. You also have access to Google Classrooms as well. You've got PDFs that you can download. You've got videos from your drop-in sessions, from your live classes that you can watch in case you miss any one of them. So yeah, that consists of your study pack. You've got a lot of assets, a lot of materials that is accessible to you. If you're not free, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, you have time to like go back and watch those videos, including your self-paced videos as well. I hope that I've answered your question, Honor.
yeah. My name is Ipadiola, not Honor.
Oh, okay. Because I can see Honor on the screen. That's why I've been calling you Honor. But nice to meet you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, so let's see if you've got other questions, although just like you can raise up your hand if you have any questions. Okay, I recently got admission in a UK university to study project management. I want to transition into PM. So I am thinking of getting another certification after my studies. Please advise me on what to do afterwards. Should I do Prince 2 or PMP certification? Okay, fantastic. Anthony, first of all, congratulations on getting admission to a UK university to study projects management. Now you're saying that you want to transition into, okay, I can't see a question. Okay, now you're saying that you want to transition into PM. Well, you can do a Prince 2 or PMP certification. Really, it depends on what works for you. Either of them would be a significant and major add to your skill set already. But what I would advise you to do though is to do the Agile Project Scrum Master certification. And I'm saying that you should do that because again, you know, part of what we discuss here today is that certifications, in as much as you know this is really cool, it's cool for you to have this, it's also important as well that you are able to build a portfolio, that you're able to say, okay, so you can actually do like the PMP, you can do Prince 2, and then you can also do like the Agile Project Management as well, the Scrum Master certification, so that you can also learn not just from like a general perspective, but you can also learn how you can use those skills that you have now built to get a job. So I would say that you can do the PMP certification, since when you look at most of these job listings, a lot of them are actually asking for people who have PMP certification, although some of them would like specify, but a lot of these job descriptions are looking for people with PMP certification. So I would advise you to go for that. Okay, I want to see if you've got other questions. This presentation was very well explained. Thank you so much, Ayodele. Yeah, a lot of sharks out there making fake promises with minimal explanation. Thank you very much, Ayodele. We put a lot of thought into this. Like I said, we're very community driven. Oloni Jaye said, I paid this morning also. So is the Amdari auto impute or something? Because I didn't see anything like Amdari when I registered. Again, this is the first phase for you. You're not doing anything with Amdari yet. Before you get to the Amdari level, you have to learn. And this is right now you are in the learn. Remember the LPA system we spoke about? In L, there's no Amdari there. First you learn, and then when you learn, then you can now go into package, and then you can now go into apply, which is your internship program, which is where Amdari comes in. So what we do is that we just note your registration that, oh, you registered in 24 hours, and within 24 hours, and then we also give you like that extra access to Amdari's vault. So don't worry about that. Oloni Jaye, your registration was noted. I can see a question from Annabelle saying, do you have students who took your program last year or year before and still haven't gotten a job? What do you do about such students to help them? It's a very interesting question. Someone asked I think this was a couple of sessions ago. The person said, do you have any unsuccessful stories? And this is kind of like where your question is leaning. So what I would say to this question is, there's no unsuccessful story. And for everyone, it's really just about the time that it takes you. If you take the the LPA framework, the four-step framework that I explained on this call, and you apply that framework in your job search, you have learned. Now, after you learn, you now go into the package. And when I say package, I don't mean you do something with half your heart and you don't put a lot of, you package properly your resume, your portfolio, you're applying to jobs, you're getting jobs that we're sending to you, like on the private job boards, not just the public ones, although I advise that you use that as well. And then you now get to the apply system, you're optimizing your link, your CV before you submit it. It might take you a while. It might take you like maybe a month. It might take you 3 weeks. It might take you 2 months, but I guarantee you that you will get results. Where a lot of people fail is that consistency. Consistency is not easy. But if you consistently apply everything I just said, we've had people who have come into our program and they haven't even finished their program with 10 analytics. They've already gotten jobs. Because they took everything that we said and they applied it to a T. So if you do that, I can guarantee you that you would not be waiting for 1 year before you get a job. You would not be waiting for 6 months before you get a job. We give you all of the tools, we give you the resources, and then we're also pushing you, we're helping you. Annabelle, in a nutshell, to answer your question, the ball is in both of our courts. We will do what you have promised you, and then you would also help us by doing what you need to do and applying the LPA system religiously. Okay, so I can see a question from Chi Jingdu Udo. Hope it's 10 analytics that's engaging the students for internship placement. Okay, so Amdari is a sister company of 10 Analytics, so you don't have to worry about that. Amdari is a sister company of 10 Analytics. So yes, we would be placing our students, or we place our students with Amdari, so that you can also get access to, you can say, oh, I've worked in Amdari. You can have a UK company as well on your profile. Now you've got 2 global companies on your profile, one of them Canadian, one of them from the United Kingdom, and that makes you look really attractive in the job market. But then the best part of it is that this is also your portfolio building phase. This is where you work on these projects that you build your portfolio with. So that when you get into interviews and they're asking you questions like, tell me about a time you were in care work before, you never ever worked in in business analysis, and now they're asking you, tell me about a time. It is your experience with diary that would help you answer this question and answer it well. So I hope that answers your question. Okay, so I don't know if we've got other questions. Okay, Sharon, okay, you've got certificates in insurance and risk management, and you're starting a course in healthcare. You have over 10 years of work experience and in insurance sales and business development and leading team. So what is the best program fit for me? So my first question to you, Sharon, would be, did you take the personality quiz? Sharon, you can unmute yourself to speak up if you want to, or you can just answer me in the chat if that's what you're comfortable with. But if you took the personality quiz, I'm very sure that you must have gotten a recommendation there. Now, looking at your background, insurance, sales, business development, leading teams, I would say that you look like a proper fit for business analysis. That is what your profile is telling me, that you would make a great business analyst. But again, if you need more clarity on this, maybe you're not sure this is the right career path for you, you can also book a one-on-one clarity call with our career experts, and they will walk you through any questions that you have and help you streamline your options. You're asking a very important question. Whatever career path you lock yourself into is going to determine the trajectory of your life. So it's very important that you're very clear that this is something that aligns with you. Okay. I don't know if we have other questions. Okay, I can see that my colleagues have been answering these questions in the chat section. Okay, so I would say that we don't have any other. Okay, I can see Ono currently enrolled in supply chain management diploma here. Which course would be perfect for my field? Supply chain management. Supply chain management, I would say data analysts. I would say data analysts because supply chain actually deals a lot with data. There are a lot of moving parts and you have to stay on top of it. So most likely data analysts, but then again, please, I would advise that you take the tech quiz if you need more clarity. Take the tech quiz. Let us know if that matches your personality with T. And if you need more support, feel free to book a one-on-one with the Clarity support team. What course would you recommend for a master student of AI? Fantastic. So the thing is that AI doesn't really tell me what your strengths are. And when you're looking at getting something that can work for your strengths, you don't want something that's broad, you want to narrow it down. So what kind of backgrounds do you have? Is your background in marketing? Is it in operations? Is it in healthcare? That is what would tell me that can give me an idea of what would be a good fit for you. However, if it's AI, I would say that you're someone who is very drawn to innovation. You're someone who likes new things. You like to stay on top of new trends. Yeah, so most likely business analysis, because even when you think about the AI movement, it is being driven by business analysts. A business analyst is a person who would come in and say, hey, so we've got this business. How can we use AI to optimize your processes? How can we use AI to scale up? How can we use AI to increase your revenue? How can we use AI to make your processes better? So most likely, if you're someone who loves innovation, then definitely you should go for this. So it's been amazing spending time with everyone here, and I hope that I've been able to answer most of your questions, although I can't answer everybody's question. If you have more questions, please feel free to book a call with our support team. And like I said before, our career coaches are available to answer any questions that you have, to help you if you need clarity on the career path that you want to take. You're not sure what would be a good fit for you, or maybe you've paid and you have some questions about it. That is fine. You can always book a call. You can send a message to our support team. Like I said before, we're 100% community driven. Sharon, my colleagues are dropping that in the comment section. You can just follow the link that they're dropping, and then you would be able to book a call. Yes, so Dorcas, if you don't mind dropping the link again, so that everyone has access to the link they can use to book a call. Okay, so you have to fill out the attendance form. If you fill out the attendance form, then you have access to, let me just drop that here. Okay, Dorcas, thank you very much. Okay, so we have come to the end of this session. And if you have any further questions, please book a clarity call. But I do hope to see every single one of you here today with me. I hope to see you in your cohorts. I hope to see you settling in. I hope to see you living the dream that you always wanted to. Yeah, that is the main reason why you all joined this call today. So thank you for taking time out of your busy lives to join me today
Hi,
until
Lola.
time. Oh,
Hi, Lola. Sorry. This is Ibrahim.
okay.
You didn't take my question, but let me just quickly ask before I. So one of the questions I asked was, does the oh, okay, I think you answered. I think you said you had, and it's towards the end of the program, the internship, right? But my question is for someone who wants to transition from banking into tech, do you have people like that? And then because I think I did it and it went to financial analysis. So is it financial analysis or business analysis or cyber? Those are three biggest. So I think I might need to book a clarity call because what I want to do is I've done banking for a bit and I just want to transition into tech. And I'm looking for the easiest way. I want to go granular. I want to start from the basic, right? So your classes, is it weekly? The one that starts in September, is it weekly? Is it daily? I know there's a self-paced one, right? And then there's the one that, so how does it work? Can you quickly share? I think I missed that part, even though I was trying to listen all through.
Okay. Okay. Those are really great questions. You see, I'm not surprised actually that considering the fact that you have experience in banking, that you got that result. I'm actually not surprised at all. So financial analytics, that is just, it's telling you this is what aligns with your personality. So now the question is this something that you want to do? I do.
Exactly.
So you don't, okay, maybe I should be asking you that question. Do you think that you've outgrown that? You want to try something else now that you're getting into tech?
Exactly. I think you got my question. So that's what my initial challenge was. I'm not like financial analysis, so I know it's a shortcoming, right? Which is what, so it would be nice to go. I've always wanted to do a course on that. However, I want to transition into tech. Being in a new country, something I want to go into, and I said, I'm done with business, I'm done with business development, I'm done with sales. Can I do something else that'll give me that remote option? And I know tech is it, and it's interesting, and that's the future of work, right? However, I was thinking maybe something like cyber security or data analysis. Cyber security would be something more preferred because truly that's the future of work. Every organization needs cyber security. It's clear. So, but now I'm like, is there a way to combine both? Because in terms of skills, financial analysis is still very good, right? It's ability to be able to analyze data, be able to present. So that's my question. I hope I'm not confusing you. Do you get?
No, not at all. So I would say that with what you've just mentioned now with cybersecurity, that you're technically inclined. So you're good with numbers, you're comfortable with numbers. Would you say that?
Yes, I'm
Okay.
comfortable with numbers, but to a large extent in terms of interpretation. So don't let me. I'm more of a speaker. I'm a talk. Do you get? Like that's why I said you're a very good presenter. I saw that. In fact, you captured me all through. So for me, I'm excited. But now, when it comes to interpret numbers, it might be a big challenge because most times I have people. Do you get? I've led teams. So now I like to crunch numbers to be able to interpret numbers. At the same time, I'm interested in cybersecurity, right? I don't mind starting. Do you get this? If I see someone that go granular, it's added skills. Do you understand? With what I have, I know financial analysis is not a challenge. It's transferable, right? With the experience, but that can't transfer into cybersecurity. It's something new, and I would like to have it as additional skill.
Mm.
So I'm like, is there a way we marry the two? Because I know I need brushing up in terms of financial analysis, right? Which is what you are speaking to what I'm supposed to be doing, what I will enjoy doing, because I analyze financial statements. That's what we do all the time, right? Aha. But security is new and everybody's exposed to hacking. So that's the future. And I'm interested in that.
Hmm.
So how do we marry the two?
I love the fact that you said it's the future, you're interested in that. It seems like you're also leaning more towards cybersecurity, but here is what I would
Yes.
say. Um, I know that cybersecurity is exploding when it comes to demand. A lot of people are very
Hmm?
interested in cybersecurity. There are a lot of job opportunities, but that is the same way there are lots of job opportunities in in business analysis. Now, why am I saying business analysis? Is because I have listened to you, I have heard you, and you seem like someone who wants something new. You seem like someone who would enjoy breaking processes apart, someone who would enjoy saying, oh, this isn't working. What can we do to fix it? You've got sales experience, you've got marketing experience, you've got financial experience. All of this can make you a beast as a business analyst. As a cybersecurity analyst, your skills would be wasted because then your role would get very technical. And even the way you're speaking, I can tell that you're someone who is, you sound like a people person, and you need to be in roles that can really, that can make you happy, roles where you're
Yeah.
interacting with stakeholders. Cybersecurity is amazing, but it might not be a personality fit. I do think perfect for you would be business analyst, and then
But
you
I
can,
think that market is saturated. The business analysis market is saturated. I see a lot of people there and they are still looking. I hear Scrum Master, I hear all those things, right? So I think that market is saturated and there are no more opportunities there. A lot of people that land want to go into business analysis. That's what I noticed in the last 3 years. This one is everybody's doing BA, BA, BA. So where's the market? Where's marketability, right? Everybody that has worked in the financial industry is like business analysis. Do you understand? So my concern is where is the niche, right? For me, I don't believe in going where everyone is going, but I hear you. You are looking at my personality traits. Of course, that's what everybody says. However, how long are we going to do these personality things? Like somebody telling me I should still do. I'm tired. I don't want to do sales again. I want to sit down at home too. I don't want to be jumping around like a chicken without head. Do you get? So that's it. But no problem. I think we'll still book a call. I'm really interested. I'm happy with what you guys are doing. I'm excited, and I'm just like, no, you want us to start dropping. This is Canada. But don't worry. I guess we'll get when we get into the class, we'll look at what we're gonna do. Thank you so
definitely.
much. You really held us holding me for 2 hours. You must be very good at what you're doing. Kudos to you and your team, eh? Well done.
Thank
Thank
you very
you.
much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much, guys. It's really been amazing just, getting to speak to everyone here, getting to learn more about you. It's been amazing. It's been quite a ride. So I definitely look forward to our next conversation. And again, once again, just to wrap up, if you have any further questions, please feel free to book a clarity call, and our team is available to answer any questions that you have. Thank
So
you.
is this your email? Let me just snap it so I can send you a mail later.
Yes,
Is
this
this
is
your
my.
email? Lola at 10. Okay, that's fine. All right, we'll catch up. Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye, guys.